Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. I am your host, Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic Friday coming off work, school, wherever the case may be. By the way, folks, holiday season, Thanksgiving, less than a week away. Again, I want to say this, even though last week it's belated, again, happy Veterans Day to all of our military men and women who fight for our country. The sacrifices y'all make each and every single day. Thank you. Um, we're still waiting on BRF. We don't know whether BRF is going to hop on the show, but please make sure you go like and subscribe to BRF. Please go check him out on the Undisputed Go podcast with him, Flash, and of course, my main man, all the way from Columbus, Georgia. He is the four-time college degree champion. He is the military man and veteran. He is the computer whiz. He is the Al Roker of journalism, the young Charles Barkley, the extraordinaire. He's brilliant, sharp, smooth, sophisticated, all that in a bag of chips. The big fella and Mama Champ's number one favorite son, undisputed world champ. How you doing, big fella?
I'm good, man. Happy to be on the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. Once again, man, I call it the highlight of Friday nights for a reason. This is the highlight of the week. You've had a long week, man. Ready to entertain the fans and all the people in the audience, man. Ready to give them a few jokes, man. But overall, man, it's kind of like Dr. Lee said on Drumline. The first goal is to educate and then entertain. So I'm looking to do both today.
Absolutely, man. And speaking of education, for those who may not know, there will be a 30 for 30 documentary on the late, great Stuart Scott. Please go check that out. My man, Undisputed World Champ, did a video on it on his TikTok. When you talk about trailblazers, Stuart Scott was one of them as far as journalism, reporting, authenticity, and also bringing in and incorporating hip hop into the fray. So it's going to be interesting to see Stuart Scott. I mean, because again, I told you visual learning is fascinating, and to watch it and to see behind the scenes with Stuart Scott, whether if it's from the great Rich Eisen and so many others, I can't wait to see it, man. I just can't wait to see it. And I hope people are going to be entertained about it. I know I will for an absolute fact. And I know the big fella will be as well. But big fella, unfortunately, I got to talk about one Atlanta Falcons. What the hell happened to your Atlanta Falcons last week against the Carolina Panthers? This is now the first time since 2013 that the Carolina Panthers have swept the Atlanta Falcons. Um, Bryce Young, statistically, the game of his life, put up an incredible, amazing, remarkable performance. In the first time in his career, he threw for over 400 yards, champ, 448, and three touchdowns in that game in that 30-27 victory. Now, look, Michael Penix Jr., unfortunately, and even though BRF had no problem drafting Michael Penix Jr., you wanted Dallas Turner coming out of that draft.
Mm-hmm.
He's now going to have surgery on the ACL. Was that now, champ? Three ACL injuries. And the concern with Michael Penix Jr. has never been his talent. I think he's shown and proven that he's a quality quarterback in this league. But durability has been a major issue with him coming out of college. Drake London, who has established himself as one of the top 10, if not top 5 receivers in football. Unfortunately, he'll be out as well. And it's sad for the Atlanta Falcons because with the embarrassment of riches that they have on the offense and on the defensive side of the football, you would expect a hell of a lot better. And losing to the Carolina Panthers, in which Bryce Young torched them, and let's shout out and let's give love words due to Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, he still has an awful lot to prove, but at the same time, he has gotten better. So let's give credit to the Carolina Panthers. What you saw was a glimpse of the potential with Bryce Young, with McMillan. That's why they brought him there. And by the way, he leads all rookies as far as receiving yards and receptions. And we talked about how great Emeka Ibuka is, and he still is, man. But we can't ignore McMillan. Um, your defense, the only sign the defense did well, champ, was stopping the run. Because that's been the problem with Atlanta's defensively. But 448 yards. And matter of fact, y'all had the number one passing defense in the National Football League.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's gonna have to be some changes. And look, man, I don't care if Atlanta wins as many games this season or even makes the playoffs. And it looks like y'all probably not gonna make the playoffs.
Dope.
You have to clean up house. And you're gonna have to look for another quarterback. Who knows? You may look for Mac Jones because Mac Jones has done his part in San Francisco. All this talk about Mac Jones being a bust, no, 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 no. I told you before, champ, and this is why I said I don't trust Bill Belichick at this point in this stage in his career. I do not trust Bill Belichick because bringing in Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, if that is not an indictment on Bill Belichick, I don't know what is. Mac Jones, what he showed you throughout his time in San Francisco before Brock Purdy, he showed you what potential he has as a quarterback. Is he the most flashy or spectacular quarterback? No, he's a competent quarterback. And I've said it. Had they drafted him with the third overall pick as opposed to Trey Lance, they would have had a better opportunity as far as making the playoffs. And who knows, making to a Super Bowl. After all, you did it with Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy. Why not with Mac Jones? But and that's Atlanta. I think Atlanta should look at a quarterback in Mac Jones. But big fella, major disappointment for the ATL. I mean, the embarrassment of riches that y'all have, your defense got embarrassed. The defense against the Carolina Panthers cannot be absolved. They
Nope.
just cannot. And look, BRF, even though he made the argument for Michael Penix Jr., he didn't have a problem with it. But again, you mentioned it yourself, champ. If you bring in Kirk Cousins, knowing that he's had an Achilles injury, Michael Penix Jr. with all them injuries coming out of college, that's going to be a major concern. That is going to be a major red flag. I do agree with Shannon Sharp from the standpoint. I hope for the Atlanta Falcons that Michael Penix Jr. ends up having the career like one Thomas Davis. Remember Thomas Davis of your Georgia Bulldogs who played for the Carolina Panthers, who had an excellent NFL career? That's what I hope Michael Penix Jr. And that was a great point by Shannon Sharp, mind you. But champ man, y'all gonna have to clean up house. The head coach, the offensive coordinator. I know you. I don't know. You still want to keep Jeff Aldrich? Fair
Yeah,
enough. He's done his
keep Jeff
part.
Ulbrich.
But overall, big fella, the floor is yours. I have nothing else to say. What the hell going on in the ATL?
Oh, look, the coach summed it up great. There's not a such thing as a losing team, only losing leadership. So he knows the end is near. He knows the end is near. So he basically just told us what the problem was. The problem is me. And I admire Coach Morris for taking accountability for this debacle that we've been having this season. But you know, the problem is him. The problem is, like I stated, we haven't had the correct coaching with these personnel moves that we have made. We've made personnel moves in order to make the playoffs. But that's nothing new for Atlanta. We've drafted a hell of a lot of great players. We've drafted Patrick Kearney. We've drafted Jamal Anderson. We've drafted Keith Brookins. We've drafted Jesse Tuggle. We went out there. We had some great linemen: Chris Hinton, Jake Matthews, McCary. We've drafted those players. Tevin Coleman, Devontae
Walker,
Freeman.
Pierce. Yeah,
I
y'all
mean,
y'all
we
done your
have
part as far
drafted
as
throughout
accumulating
the
draft
history of
picks.
this league,
Yeah.
not throughout the history of our existence, not just, hell, people don't even realize this. Hell, we drafted Brett Favre. So
I'm
we,
like, remember what they used to call him.
yeah, Bakehead Brett. But it's just the coaching, man. And we got to be real with ourselves. It's just the coaching. Got to clean house. How many times can the house be clean uh before you find some spectacles on the floor? I mean, we keep sweeping up the house, but the same dirt keeps coming back in the front door. So what changes do we have to make in upper management at this point in order to make sure that a lot of these things doesn't happen again? I know a lot of people are saying. I know last week I was talking about Tom Flores. Oh, excuse me,
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores. Excuse me, and looking at Mike McDaniel as the offense coordinator. But I want to bring it back to the state just a little bit. Bring it back to the state of Georgia a little bit. Atlanta, you want an offensive minded coach? Go look at former Georgia Bulldog Todd Monken from the Baltimore Ravens. You want to develop Michael Penix Jr., go get Todd Monken. His personality is not going to be out there. He's a no-nonsense guy, and he helped Lamar Jackson, even with him being the MVP before he got there, he helped him to get even better. If you want to bring back the fireworks of that 2016 team back to Atlanta, go get Todd Monken. Bring him in as the head coach. And it's a perfect marriage. He has ties from Georgia. He's proven that he can coach in this league. And he can draw up a hell of a playbook. You saw it, you see it in Baltimore. You saw it in Baltimore. And you have a young quarterback that's very, very impressionable, very, very coached, very, very coachable, excuse me. And you have the offensive personnel in order to produce. Look at Todd Monken. Keep Jeff Ulbrich. Still keep your eyes down there on Miami. But and see what's going on with Mike McDaniel. But if you really want to make a big splash, bring in Todd Monken. Bring him back to the state of Georgia and see what happens with this team. I'll say keep Jeff Ulbrich because he's been doing a hell of a job. The defense have been keeping us in a lot of games where the offense have been pretty much stagnant. But I would say look at Todd Monken, man. Todd Monken, that will be a good splash in order to make, man. I think he'll make a hell of a head coach as far as an offensive minded head coach in order to go with a lot of these weapons that we have on the offensive side of the ball. And just because we don't have a first round pick next year, I think people put too much emphasis on first round picks. Guess what? You find a lot of hidden gems in the second, the third, and the fourth round. You find a lot of hidden gems there. So don't discount that. This team has drafted pretty well over the course of the last couple of years. And we've done well in the latter rounds. A lot of our defense of key players came from the latter rounds outside of Pierce, you know. So we have to, that's what I would recommend. Look at Todd Monken as well if you're trying to bring in an offensive coach this time around and get it right. Get it right. Fans have lost faith. As much as I am a hardcore Atlanta fan, it's Atlanta, man. It's Atlanta. It's Atlanta. It's Atlanta. If it's not the Braves, I don't even watch baseball. If it's not the Falcons, I watch the Falcons every single day, ever since I was a child, watching them with my uncle and my pops. So the fans have lost faith. You got to make a splash. Now, whether you go get Matt Jones or not, it's up to you because I think that you need to have an insurance policy in place just in case Michael Penix Jr. isn't back. Now, one insurance policy, if you're not willing to go out there and get Mac Jones, you may want to go down there and look at Davis Mills. He's played an amazing couple of games down there in Houston. Maybe he could be a backup just in case Michael Penix Jr. is not ready.
I don't think
So,
Houston wants to let him go, given with C.J. Stroud.
yeah, I don't think they'll let him go either, but neither do the 49ers. But you got that contract coming up with we got these rookie contracts upcoming.
I know,
So
but here's the thing, champ. C.J. Stroud with the injury, Davis Mills, and again, we all know C.J. Stroud is not the issue for the Houston Texans. He's their type of quarterback. Besides, Houston would be absolutely foolish to let him go, given
mhm.
what he's accomplished the first two seasons, even though his play hasn't been what it was his rookie season. But at the same time, champ, you've said it before, quarterback can't throw behind his back.
No.
And on top of that, when I look at other QBs, as you've mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, they haven't done much. So if we're going to give them grace, why can't we give CJ grace, given that he's done more in their career and he's much better than those quarterbacks? But I think, champ, it comes down to coaching. BRF and you have constantly lamented about Zach Robinson and his play calling. And look, in that game against Carolina, y'all had like a 14-point lead. Michael Penix Jr. was throwing the ball well. Bijan Robinson with some front runs. Tyler Algier. But then in the second half, y'all managed to score 6 points. And Bryce Young looked like Steve Young in that game. And they couldn't stop McMillan, Xavier the
Leggett, yeah.
Leggett, I'm sorry. They just let Bryce Young have so much time in that pocket and use his legs when he needed to in order to make the type of throws. And that's shocking to me with Atlanta considering their defense. I mean, look, and I thought this was going to be a statement game from Atlanta because you're coming off a tough loss, overtime loss to the Indianapolis Colts. No shame. Even though, I mean, Jonathan Taylor rushed for over 200 yards, but Taylor is on pace to having an historic season and well deserving of the conversation for the league MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta has had issues as far as stopping the run. But then now, champ, against the Panthers, who last time in week 3, if I'm not mistaken, 30-0. This. And it's only going to get worse. I mean, who's the right type of head coach? I mean, I would like to see Brian Flores with this team, with leadership. I mean, they need a type of leader. Like you see D'Amico Ryans, and he's done a really good job with the Houston Texans. That's the type of leader that you need. You need some type of leader that's going to get the team around and maximize their potential. Yes, I understand that they could look at an offensive type of guy so that way they can focus on the offense. Meanwhile, we can rely on Jeff Aldrich to handle the bigger responsibility, which is his defense. And to his credit, he's done a solid job. If you look at Atlanta, they can be better on team defense right now. I'm looking at Pro Football Reference. They're 16th in the NFL in team defense. In passing defense, they had the number 1 defense in the NFL. They're now 3rd. Only the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills have a better passing defense than the Atlanta Falcons. Rush defense, however, y'all 27th in the NFL. And as far as scoring defense in the NFL, y'all are 19th in the NFL. And as far as points per game, y'all don't give up that many points per game. Y'all are 14th for the most points per game at 23.9.
And
So,
second in sacks.
yes, and second in sacks. But despite all of that, y'all still losing. And how is it going to get any better now with Kirk Cousins at 37 years old? With the Achilles and with no mobility whatsoever. And you know Kirk Cousins coming out once y'all signed him, he was coming off the Achilles. He wasn't known for having the best mobility in the world. So he is going to be at best a stationary target.
Hey, the silver lining in this is that once Kirk Cousins is released next year, he's going to free up $70 million in cap space.
Right.
That's the silver lining in this big event right now because, man, it's been a rough season. This has been the most disappointing season ever. I do say ever, and I know people are going to say, well, ever is a strong word. We had the talent this year. There's been plenty of years where I understood we didn't have the talent. In 2007, I understood we didn't have the talent. The latter years of the Matt Ryan era, I understood we didn't have the talent. But now we have the talent, and it's just a lack of coaching. Just a lack of coaching. And a lot of the blame has to go to the front office as well, because Raheem Morris, he didn't do well last time that he was here. He didn't do well last time when he was the interim coach. When he was down there in Tampa, he didn't do very, very well. He had one winning season down there in Tampa. So it wasn't like he was this supreme head coach that had a lot of cachet or had a lot of wins, but that was that. It's very, very disappointing. And to add insult to injury, to twist the knife just a little bit more, the Rams get our first round pick next year. They have an opportunity to get even better. So on top of them being, I think they're number one in that division right now in the NFC West.
Yes.
But yeah, on top of that, and possibly even winning a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford,
And
they
who
may
might
very
win the
well.
MVP?
Yeah. So on top of all of that, you may very well be getting a top 10 or a top 5 pick, which would be devastating, man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're the Cleveland Browns of the NFL. We're the Cleveland Browns of the South. The Cleveland Browns of the South. We've had a lot of talent over the years and wasted the talent.
I think
Had a lot.
y'all the Southeast version of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, not the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s when y'all were winning Super Bowls, the glory days. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys now, champ. Because the Dallas Cowboys, they've known for accumulating talent. And y'all have had exceptional talent. And where's that gotten you? Not even playoffs so far.
Mm-mm. So far, it hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's a lot that has to change with that Atlanta organization, man. I mean, and look, this is BRF's theory, and I'm starting to get a hold of it now. I think he said this on the Undisputed Goat pod. Shout out to BRF. This
Shout out.
quarterback debacle that we've been facing the past couple of years, man. I don't think we're gonna get it right until after we do right by Matt Ryan. Time to get him in the ring of honor right now and just do right by him. Because us fans, the true fans, we love Matt Ryan. But I think a lot of the fans, to BRF's points, and like I stated, I'm going to emphasize the fact that this was BRF's point and not my own, but I completely get what he was saying. We did not appreciate Matt Ryan when he was here. That was the largest
And you
window.
also mentioned that, champ, on my pod, because remember, we did the babyface heel. And
Yeah,
all of us, it was unanimous, Matt Ryan babyface because of
yes,
what he
indeed.
meant to Atlanta post Michael Vick.
That was the large look. Let's just be real, man. That was the largest period of consistency that we ever had as an organization. The largest. We didn't have that stability with Steve Barkowski. We didn't have that stability with Chris Chandler, and he took us to a Super Bowl. We didn't have it with Michael Vick. We did not have consecutive winning seasons until Matt Ryan arrived. And he produced 4 in a row. Took us to an NFC championship, took us to a Super Bowl MVP. He did everything that we could have asked for and was part of the community as well. You
Pillar,
could go
yeah.
around there, you could see him deep in his philanthropy bag and all of that. But to BRF's point, man, I think this is karma, man. This quarterback situation, us just not being able to get right, man. We did not appreciate, like I said, the true fans like myself and BRF, we appreciated Matt Ryan. But I don't think the average
Generally
Atlanta
speaking.
fan, I don't think that the average Atlanta fan appreciated Matt Ryan. They were so, I believe this wholehearted. They were so wild by the highlight reel of Michael Vick and the prettiness and the flashiness of it that they kind of browse over Matt Ryan like he's not a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
You
He's a
can
Hall
make
of
that
Famer.
case?
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, and he played in the hardest division, arguably in the history of the league. Think about that division. You had
Quarterback division.
the quarterback
Drew
division.
Brees.
Drew Brees, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan. That was the hardest division in the history. Collectively, all 3 of them went to a Super Bowl. 2 of them won the MVP. And
And
I
one of
still
them won the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl MVP.
and one of them won a Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP for a franchise who outside of the Dome Patrol really didn't have a lot to celebrate.
They were
So
the Aints.
yeah, they were the Aints. And look, people think when we say the Aints, it's a bad thing. The Saints fans themselves gave themselves the name the Aints. They used to come up there and they used to wear these little plastic bags and they used to put Aints on there, but they still used to sell out every game.
Not
That
only
whole,
that, though, but Drew Brees, and again, to your point, champ, because you mentioned this on my pod. Sorry to cut you off, big fella.
it's all good.
Remember, you said it yourself. They were moving that franchise to San Antonio
Yeah,
post Hurricane Katrina.
yeah. That would
And
have been devastating to them. That would have been devastating to that community because that's all they had.
yeah, that and the New Orleans Hornets, now the New Orleans Pelicans. But big fella, I think when you look at Matt Ryan, now you realize how good y'all had it in Atlanta. I think people took Matt Ryan for granted because, to your point, the Michael Vick experience and how they looked at Michael Vick outside of the football field. Before the whole thing with Michael Vick back in '07, they looked at him as the Allen Iverson of the NFL. And again, when you're in a predominant black city like Atlanta, and when you have someone as electric as Mike Vick, oh, th- their eyes are going to be glued to the TV screen. But when you look at Matt Ryan, no off the field issues, consistent. He puts up numbers each and every year. Champ, he's more of a Hall of Famer in my opinion than Eli Manning. I know people will say Eli because of the two Super Bowls, two Super Bowl MVPs. He beat Brady, he beat Manning. But if you look at Matt Ryan's body of work compared to Eli outside of those two Super Bowls, who do you look at and stands out who had the better career?
It was Matt Ryan, man. Look, I'm looking at the stats, man. That's the reason I brought my head down. I'm looking at the stats, man. Look, man.
Well,
We
I
had
thought you
not
were I thought you were looking at Magic City.
no, no, no. We'll get to that later. But uh we never had back-to-back winning seasons before he got there. First year he got there, we damn near won a division title the first year. It wasn't for Carolina. Second year he got hurt, and he was out for a few games. And ironically, his rookie year when he got hurt was the only time that he missed time at the beginning of his career in Atlanta. So he missed only 3 games of his career in Atlanta, and that was in his second year when he hurt his leg.
The first pass he attempted was a touchdown.
To Michael Jenkins of all people. But
Mhm.
I digress. Then, man, look, during that time, we had two 13-win seasons in his first 5 years. Yeah, two 13-win seasons in his first 5 years. He got there in '08. We was in the NFC Championship less than 4 years later. He was in the NFC Championship less than 4 years later, man. And we had some lean years with him, because they was trying to transition that team from Mike Smith because it had already run. Mike Smith had kind of run its course, but
He was a solid coach. I
he
mean,
was a solid coach.
he tried to do what he could on the defensive side of the football field. But then after Mike Smith, after that for a little run, you started to have Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn, we went to the Super Bowl then. Then we had another winning season after that. We look, like I said, man, we never had back-to-back winning season with any quarterback, not even Steve Barkowski.
But
And
not
the
just
thing,
but
and
not
the
just
thing,
Matt Ryan champ. You had a lot of good, really good players though. Roddy
yeah,
White,
look,
Michael Turner, the offensive line, Jake Ferguson. You also had some really good players that should get a lot more credit in Atlanta. But
Grady
I really
Jarrett.
think yeah, Jared, yeah, they really took it for granted because of look at the embarrassment of riches they have now. And you really look at those Atlanta teams, sorry to cut you off, but that just tells you just how good those teams were and how Atlanta fans, y'all were spoiled. And y'all should have given them more credit. Not you, champ. I'm talking about
Yeah.
other Atlanta Falcons fans.
And myself as well, man, because I was a critical fan. We've never look. We kind of like we thirsty for a championship, man. Thirsty for a championship. That's all we wanted was a championship. We've been robbed of 2 championships. Every team in the state of Georgia has won something. Now the curse has been lifted. The curse has been lifted. For the 21st century, we have been one of the most exciting centers of the universe when it comes to sports. The Braves are a winning team. Braves are a winning team, regardless of what happened this year. If you look at the MLB awards, we have an embarrassment of riches in, you know, the baseball on the baseball diamond. When you look at soccer, we won the championship not too long ago. We finally broke the football curse when we not only won the national championship, but won back to back. And then, won the World Series and then won and won. That was a great time to be uh, a Georgia sports fan. Won the World Series and a national championship in the same year. That was a hell of a time. We just waiting. We're thirsty for that championship, man. And like I said, man, when you think about those teams that won, They're arguably considered some of the greatest teams of all time. When you think about the 95 Braves, that is considered one of the greatest teams of all time. When you think about Tom Glavine, when you think about John Smoltz, when you think about a lot of those guys, even David Justice, when you think about a lot of Chipper Jones, you think about that as the greatest team of all time. When you think about the back-to-back Bulldogs, you think about some of the greatest talents of all time. Look how that Georgia to Philadelphia pipeline is working for Philadelphia right about now, leading them to Super Bowls. That has to be studied at a later time. You went from being Georgia Bulldogs, one of the most dominant teams in college football, to filtering most of your defense to the Philadelphia Eagles. And now you're the most dominant defensive team, and you complete, and you're on the road to a repeat in the Super Bowl. You went from repeating in college to repeating in the NFL. That has to be studied. We're just looking for that on the pro level. And ironically, another strike against the Atlanta Falcons is this. You let a lot of your players in your backyard get away. You let a lot of players from your Javon Walker is the first Georgia Bulldog that we have drafted in modern history. You're letting a lot of players get away. You've let a lot of players get away. And between all of these football players that you've let get away, nearly 300 of them have won Super Bowls with other teams, whether as a starter or as a reserve player. So, man, Atlanta has been looking for a winner, man. And when you're in a big city like Atlanta, man, your fans are hungry for that championship. We're hungry for a championship. And yeah, we got spoiled real quick. And that's what I tell Georgia fans, man. Don't get too spoiled too quick, man. Because guess what, man? There was a time where it was bad. There was times that we were happy to get to bowl games. There was time where we was 8-4. Don't get too spoiled, man. I understand we're used to being in contention for the natty, but don't get too spoiled, man. Remember the bad times so we can enjoy the good times. These are the best times that you're ever going to see in Georgia football, man, because we are there. But yeah, man, Atlanta's hungry for a championship, and that's why the fans were so tough on Matty Ice. I believe they were so thirsty for that championship, especially after the Michael Vick years. Where you know like I said, people got I never understood why people say, Matt Ryan is not the greatest quarterback in Atlanta history because he has to be. He's
The
the only one
stats, the
that won
accolades prove
the
it.
accolades, the MVPs. And the thing is, Mike Vick, if you really want me to be honest, he's not even the second best quarterback in Atlanta history. It's Steve Bartkowski. It's Steve Bartkowski.
Champ, the only
So
reason why they'll say that is because they're not used to seeing Steve Bartkowski. They're just so glued into Michael Vick. But to your point, Champ, this is a no-brainer for Matt Ryan as
yeah,
far as with the greatest Atlanta Falcons quarterback. He has longevity, the stats, the accolades. You
yeah,
look at Matt Ryan, he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. The
yeah,
knock on Michael Vick, had Michael Vick had that mentality, had the focus early on in his career. Now, he didn't have that until he had, rest his soul, the late great Dan Reeves. Amongst them, he was the one that held them accountable until Andy Reid when he joined the Eagles back in 2009.
yeah.
That's the best version that you saw Michael Vick in 2010 as far as a passer. But Matt Ryan, look, people just need to give Matt Ryan his flowers, especially in Atlanta, because you don't realize how good y'all got. Imagine if Matt Ryan at his prime were with this team. I
Look,
think he would have done some things with this team, make them at least playoff caliber. But at the same time, when you look at Atlanta, I look at the front office, I look at Arthur Blank, I look at a lot of things. Y'all done y'all homework as far as getting all the right types of ingredients, but it hasn't materialized on the field as far as wins. And you keep bringing in the wrong types of guys. So what are you gonna do as far as a head coach is concerned, champ? Raheem Morris is out the door. Zach Robinson's out the door. I hate to say it, but Zach Robinson is just as bad as an OC compared to what Arthur Smith was last year.
basically, you ain't lying. That's the thing. We keep hiring these same coordinators, bro. Get you a strong-minded guy in there. And basically, Raheem Morris, he was a recycle. He didn't do nothing when he was in Atlanta in the first time. Then he went to Tampa Bay. He ain't do nothing there. So it's just it's very, very disappointing, man. Like I said, if we didn't have the talent, I could have understood. It was like, well, you don't have the talent. Okay, we just don't have the talent. But when you have the talent, in the great words of Sonny from Bronx Tales, man, it's nothing like wasted talent, bro. And this is what happened with Atlanta this year, man. Just wasted talent. Bijan is upset every darn game. He's not used to losing like this. I mean, him being the back that he was at Texas, and being the high caliber, he's a top 5 back in this league. Being misutilized, him and Tyler Algier. Mind you, we about to lose Tyler Algier next year. Somebody finna pay him a fat contract next year. Rest assured.
Which is
So
why you're gonna have to go in the draft and you're gonna have to get another running back to complement
yeah,
Bijan.
yeah. So it's a lot, man. This is a very, very disappointing season for you to have talent and know that you had it and you just didn't do nothing with it, man. And like I stated, man, the more and more you lose the faith of fans, the more they stop showing up to the arena. And when they stop showing up to the arena, then that's trouble.
It is, man. But hopefully Atlanta will get it together. But speaking of another team in the South, boy, the Houston Texans. They you talk about quarterback cannot throw behind his back. 8 times they sacked Josh Allen in that game. 8 times, man. You had the foundation with Will Anderson Jr., Daniel Hunter, I mean, Settle Jr., that defensive tackle. And also, too, shout out to not only D'Amico Ryans because we know what a defensive mind he is. Remember, he was the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers before he took the head coach job for the Houston Texans. How about Matt Burke? He is now taking over the play calling responsibilities on the defense. And you saw what the Houston Texans have done defensively last year, champ, with the sacks. And they've won 3 games without their star quarterback in CJ Stroud. Champ, to me, if there's a team that scares me in the AFC, it has to be Houston because I don't want to deal with that type of defense, especially with D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke as the defensive minds. And look, the only concern has been the offensive line. Again, CJ Stroud is their guy. I believe. Look, champ, you did a TikTok video about CJ Stroud. Look, CJ, I can't ask him to be what Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Allen is at this point. He still has ways to go, but he's a good enough quarterback for them. And on top of that, with that type of offensive line did a good enough job protecting Davis Mills that day. He wasn't even sacked.
Nope.
So imagine if CJ Stroud comes back with the offensive line playing as it is. And not only that, with running the football. Houston is going to be a scary test. As for Buffalo, champ, Josh Allen going back to the turnover issues. What's going to happen in Buffalo? Only time will tell. You didn't hear much of James Cook now, did you?
He got 116 yards.
He did, but then later in the game, how come he didn't get the ball fed enough? They
They should
kept
have.
relying.
They should have kept feeding him. I keep saying this, man. Look, I'm just gonna be real. Stop overutilizing Josh Allen. Stop. Enough. You have a running back that you just paid. If you see him breaking, keep handing him the darn ball. He's a Georgia Bulldog. Georgia's running back you. We're running back you for a reason.
17 carries for a buck 16 and a touchdown, the longest run he had in that game. But champ, the reason why James Cook had an off night because they didn't give him the ball enough. Imagine he had 30 carries. He probably would have had at least 190 yards and maybe a touchdown.
Look, sometimes they was stopping him at a certain point because he was hitting home runs. For every home run that he hit, it was 2 yards in a cloud of dust. Granted, that happened, but when you see he can get loose and he's showing you that he can get loose, then guess what? Hand him the ball. I've been saying this over and over and over again. Stop being so heavily reliant on Josh Allen. Stop giving him that ball, putting him in danger, because they was not, look, they didn't sack. Look, it's not just the sacks. They was hitting him every play.
12 QB hits
Exactly.
and 11 tackles for loss.
Exactly. So I mean, you saw how bad he was grimacing when he got up that one play. So stop. Look, Sean McDermott, listen. Stop overutilizing Josh Allen. You just paid James Cook. He's second in the league in rushing. Hand him the ball. You don't have to ask for Josh Allen to be Dan Marino or John Elway. You don't have to ask that anymore when you got a big old back that you can go around there and hand the ball off to him 30 times. Learn from the Philadelphia Eagles. People knock the Philadelphia Eagles. I say learn from them. If you got a back that big, that strong, and from you see what's in my background right there? You see that? You see that right there? See that? You see that G back there? If you got a running back from UGA, you got yourself something. You got an every down guy that you can hand the ball to at least 30 times a game. Go back there and hand him that ball. You don't have to overutilize Josh Allen. I know he's the league MVP. I know he's able to do carry jobs. Last year, without his star receiver, Stephon Diggs, everybody thought it was finished, had his greatest year, MVP year. People had a bunch of dumb stuff to say about it, but he was the MVP of his team. They'd have won one game without him. That's the definition of value. Hate to break it to you. But the thing is this, if you have a back the caliber of a James Cook, who not only is second in the league in rushing this year behind Jonathan Taylor. He's right behind him. He's 100. Look at the stats. He's 100 yards. He's only like 100 and some yards behind
Jonathan Taylor has 1,139 yards. James Cook, 1,084.
Exactly. He's not that far behind him, and they're not even running him as much. Run him. You just paid him. I'm finna get look. I'm gonna just be real. When you pay for something, get your money's worth. When you go to the buffet, don't just go up there and just grab a slice of pizza. Go up there and fill your plate up, top off your cup, and stuff a few rolls in your pocket. That is what you do when you pay a back. Use him. Use him. That's why you paid him. So you wouldn't have to be so heavily reliant on Josh Allen. If he get 116 yards on 16 carries and you see it's working and you see that's taking the attention off Josh, hand him the ball. Hand it to him. Look, I'm going to just be real. I don't win championships on style points. I don't care how pretty it is. If I'm winning, I'm going to win as ugly as possible. If I can win ugly and still win, no problem. You will see no problems with Undisputed. Look,
I hope you don't apply that with women.
Huh?
I hope you don't apply that with women.
Hey, man, ain't nothing like them night fighters sometimes. Hey, man, don't be knocking them night fighters, man. They need love too.
I'm not knocking the night fighters.
Don't knock the night fighters. They need them love. They need love too, man. You know, just being real, man. But anyway, let's get back to the lecture at hand. But don't knock the Philadelphia Eagles. Learn from the Philadelphia Eagles. If you have a back the caliber of a James Cook, who not only is second in the league in rushing, only 100 yards behind Jonathan Taylor, who's an MVP candidate. A few things go right, and he's in front of Jonathan Taylor. And plus, he led the league in touchdowns last year as far as rushing touchdowns is concerned. He led the league in touchdowns just last year. If you have a back of that caliber, you just paid him, hand him the ball. It's not going to hurt you. Look, I said this as a child with Dan Marino. Stop being so heavily reliant on him. And you saw with Dan Marino, they lived and died by Dan Marino. And they died a hell of a lot more than they lived. with the Denver Broncos, it wasn't until they stopped depending on him so much to be plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and plan F that they finally get over the hump. That they finally get over the hump. When they finally stop depending on Elway to be playing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then guess what? They finally got over the hump. They was able to get Terrell Davis the ball. They was able to, you know, bring in a Rod Smith. They was able to bring in Ed McCaffrey. They was able to bring in a lot of different skill players so it won't be such a burden on his back. That's what they need to do with Josh Allen. And as far as Sean McDermott is concerned, look, man, look, this window is closing. These new crop of quarterbacks are here. You have teams that are coming out of nowhere beating the crap out of teams. The Patriots are 9-2 right about now. And the Patriot way looks like it's back. You're gonna have to compete with that for at least the next 5 to 6 years. Josh Allen is not getting any younger. And you can't keep running him like that. You saw what happened when Brian Dable kept running Jackson Dart.
Dart.
Okay, it's only so much toughness that I can have before. It's only so many times I can pull the trigger and Russian roulette before the gun goes off. And if you keep running Josh Allen that way, then guess what? He's gonna get hit. And don't get me started with, well, they run Lamar. Lamar's not in the all be all. He's not playing A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
No, they relying on Derrick Henry. They're also relying on other people as
Yes.
well. Justice Hill, Zay Flowers. So let's end that narrative that Josh Allen has to carry the load. No, Josh Allen will be 30 years old. So if
Mhm.
you want to keep, not saying that he's old, but he's getting up there. So if you want him to remain and keep him there for let's say the next 8 to 10 years, there's nothing wrong with him not asking to do an awful lot. Maybe because they just did that chant. Because remember, the first game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming off a short week, Josh Allen, 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs. And again, it's exciting to see these types of performances from Josh Allen. That's why he's one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. But is it necessary for him to do that much of the load,
No,
considering the fact that you already have the formula put in place with James Cook? Nah.
no.
So just go with what you have, and that's it. If people are not going to like your style of play, as you mentioned with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll discuss that later on, that's on them. I look, it's like with basketball. I don't like the hack a Shaq philosophy. It slows down the game, and I get to see the worst free throw shooter shoot free throws, and they have to be yanked off the game. Nevertheless, you
Mhm.
trying to win.
Yes.
It's
Look,
about winning. I thought if you're about winning, and again, champ, the reason why we have to point this out, we talk about Kansas City, we talk about Baltimore's window closing. Buffalo's right up there because we're hearing teams such as Indianapolis, New England. We're hearing a lot more discussions about these teams than them. And I don't know, how are you going to make this work if you continuously allow these types of performances from Josh Allen? No one is saying that they have to put Josh Allen as a game manager, but when you don't need him to do that much, go with it. And the other problem is them turnovers now with Josh Allen. He hasn't been taking care of the football lately. He's going back to his tendencies, which
yeah,
that was an issue since he was drafted.
exactly. Because you're asking me to do every darn thing when I don't have to. Why bang your head against the wall when it's only 2 steps to go around it? I got a back now. Do you realize what Dan Marino would have did for a back like that?
Definition of
Ironically,
insanity. De-
exactly.
Definition of insanity is doing something more than once and expecting a different result.
Exactly. Stop doing that. You're overutilizing him. He's gonna get hurt eventually. And then everybody's gonna be looking at you like boo boo the fool. So understand what's at stake here. This is the greatest quarterback in franchise history since Jim Kelly. Greatest in franchise history since that time. Since then, since Jim Kelly, it was a long stretch where y'all did not have a franchise quarterback. Then you had Doug Flutie for a couple of years with the Fruity Flakes and Captain Fluties. Then the rest of that, yawn, yawn, yawn. Now you have Josh Allen, basically the John Elway Dan Marino of the league, and you're asking him to do too much, and you just played your superstar running back. Look, the thing is this. Behind me is running back you. See that right there? Running back you, Georgia. So guess what? You get a running back from Georgia, you're gonna get one of the best. Hand him that ball 30 times, hand him the ball 20 times. Look, the one thing about a lot of teams that win, guess what? Look at what the San Francisco 49ers do with Christian McCaffrey. He at least gets the ball at least 20 times. And every time, with the exception of the Super Bowl, they've won. Philadelphia, they run the ball. It's getting back to basics at this point as far as in the NFL. Now, it's going back to the way it was in the 80s. You're winning with defense, ball control, and running the football. All of that aired it out like a ceiling fan. It'll work some days, but it ain't going to work every day. It's turning back. It's getting back to those basic steps. Off defense, ball control. That's what it's getting back to. All of that, we're going to come out here and throw for 5,000 yards. The defense has caught up with the offense. They've caught up with them. That's why a lot of these incoming quarterbacks are struggling. And if you look back in the day, they were struggling then. Look at Phil Simms. Look at Joe Theismann. He struggled when he first got into the league. Look at Terry Bradshaw. He struggled when he first got into the league. Because these defenses are better or as best as they've ever been in modern day football. They're getting even better. The pass rushers are faster. The linebackers are smarter. The DBs, the coverage with the two high safeties, it's impeccable. So with that being said, what you're seeing, the game is changing back to the brutal times that it was in. You have to make sure you establish the running game. And you're on the road in AstroTurf. Get them off to a good start.
Not to mention, if you ran the ball more, you could set up play action, and you would allow more opportunities to throw the football.
Need I say more? Again, you don't have to air it out
It's
like
not
a
rocket
ceiling fan on
science.
exactly. You don't have to air it out like a ceiling fan every single play. Give Josh Allen the rest and give him the break that he needs. You got a superstar back behind you that just led the league in rushing touchdowns last year. He rushed for only 16 times and got 116 yards. His longest was 45 yards. So you know that he can do it. Feed him the ball. That's
Nothing
going to
more.
neutralize the pass rush.
Nothing more to say, big fella. You already made your point, man. Big fella, let's talk about the Lions versus the Eagles game. Really good game, man. I love what I saw from the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, Dwayne, we'll get into that in just later second. Darnell said he 311 and he's 6'7". Uh yeah, I mean, he did say that on the Monroe St. Brown's podcast, but he can't be at 311 at at the tight end position. He got to get down to at least 260, 270. But just another product of UGA, and boy, he put on. You saw that move?
Oh yeah, he was pounding. That's the same way he was at UGA.
That's why I
Same way.
wanted him.
Yeah, yeah. He was the same way. Him and Brock Bowers, deadly combination. We used to call him Big O.
Mm-hmm. Brock Bowers, the difference though, even though he was physical, the explosion and the speed. As for Darnell Washington, I
Strength.
mean, he was like a freight train. I mean, at the tight end spot, and he also got nice hands. He can also he has nice hands. He can also catch the football. He can hurdle as well too. For a big guy his size, he can move. But he got to get down to at least 270 for the rest of his career, man. But champ, let's talk about the Lions versus the Eagles game. Really good defensive game, really good performance. Um Dan Campbell. If we're going to talk about the definition of insanity, why do you still keep going for it on fourth down? I understand people will say analytics say go for it for fourth down, go for it for fourth down. But if you know that it's not working, why do you still keep doing it? As for Philadelphia's offense, I didn't think they played particularly well, but I wasn't really that concerned at all, champ, because I figured somehow, some way they were going to find a way to win. Is it the prettiest, nice offense that you want to see? No. Still in all, they find ways to win. I do like the fact, though, that, and I'm sorry, champ, even though I have no problem with the tush push, I do like the fact that they're calling false starts because it's being cleared now, champ. When you look and you slow down the tush, am I lying?
No,
Am I
you're
lying?
not. And sometimes, look, man, I love the tush push because it put them big boys up front to work, bro. But you can't false start every darn play, bro. Like what? I mean, it
Detroit
seems like they
showed you. Detroit,
and they and
hey,
they showed you how they false started. You can't have an unstoppable play and then false start too. That's just like giving Carl Lewis a 2-second head start. You're not gonna win that. You're not gonna win that battle. So
mm-hmm.
yeah,
But champ, if you want to see how you stop the tush push, how you prevent them from going from the tush push and false starts, look no further than Sunday night.
mhm.
Now, AJ Brown, he voiced his frustrations. It was reported that he spoke with the owner, Jeffrey Lurie. I think it has more to do with the frustrations with the offensive coordinator, Kevin Patola. I think, man, the Eagles, they're 8-2, and they got the Dallas Cowboys, the rematch of the season opener. It's going to be a really exciting game, champ. But I think the Eagles, they're still going to be the team coming out of the NFC. Their offense may not click, but their defense will still find ways to win. And even in a 19-20 point deficit, we saw them against the Los Angeles Rams come back from a 19-point deficit.
Yeah.
So with the Eagles, they're still the team out of the NFC because when you look at their division, Washington has regressed. New York, they lost all their key players. Cam Scatterboo, ironically, he was at Monday Night Raw. And Dallas, they've got their issues with their defense. But and again, a lot of people were complaining on the pass interference call, the one on AJ Brown. They look at it and say that was the reason. No, that was one of the reasons. The primary reason was y'all tried to go for it on fourth down. That didn't work. They put so much pressure in the pocket against Jared Goff. And when you put that type of pressure on Jared Goff, it's going to work if you're the opposing team. Because if you give Jared Goff enough time in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart.
Exactly.
But we got the BRF legend. How you doing, BRF?
Hey, what's going on, man? How y'all doing this evening?
Good, man. We just talking about the Lions versus the Eagles. But BRF, I'll let you go on this one. What were your thoughts about the Lions versus Eagles game?
Man, didn't really. I was peeping the game. I was looking at it, and I'm just like, I've been kind of preaching it like for a while, like. But even though the offense didn't show up, it's like, like the Eagles just. I feel like they're one of those teams that can go on a run regardless of what's working at the time. Even though like I think they kind of have everything like as far as the team. Like if the offense doesn't play well, the defense can pick them up, and vice versa. I mean, this was one of those games where the defense needed to really be on their A game, and they were against Detroit. Keep it a buck. They've been running through teams as of late is an understatement. The fact that they were able to do that to that offense says a lot as far as the talent. Not only the talent, but the scheme and just everybody being in tune. Like just from Jordan Davis to Jalen Carter to the boys on the back end like Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and Reed Blankenship. I mean, they just pretty much they're able to play on they. What makes a great defense is able to play on one accord on all three levels of lines, to your linebackers and to your secondary. And the Philadelphia Eagles, regardless of what's going on, they've been able to do that. And like I said, it was just one of those games where they needed to step up because the offense wasn't really feeling it, and they did their job. They did a hell of a job shut down Detroit. As for Detroit, I think they'll get back and they'll recover because I mean, Detroit, that defense kept them in it as long as they could. I mean, like having an Aiden Hutchinson is just it's like one of those rare. It's like one of those luxuries, like having a guy like that at a defensive end who can wreck a game and who can control a game regardless of what the score is, who can make a game changing play at any given time. I mean, that defense as a whole is really shown its talent this year, and they kept them in that game pretty much throughout. The offense just couldn't generate enough. They couldn't generate enough points. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I mean, he was making plays out there. Some of the plays he was making on some of those swing routes and those screens, I mean, you just see the explosion whenever he touches the ball. But I think they can recover from this game because I think the offense as a whole is just way too talented. And I think with Dan Campbell taking over the play calling duties, I mean, you expect them to continue to be aggressive. They're not going to stop just because they had a bad offensive game. You expect them to continue to be aggressive. You're expecting them to continue to push the ball down the field and for Jared Goff to get the ball in the hands of all his playmakers. So I expect Detroit to recover and come back and bounce back and continue to play good football. That was just one of those games where it's like, Philly had the home field and they took advantage of it. The crowd was in it, the defense was in it, and they carried them through that game. And that was just a well played defensive game on Philly's part. And shout out to them for really kind of putting the clamps on a really good offense in Detroit.
Talk to me, big fella.
Oh man, I love great defensive football. Putting the clamps on them, the clamps all the way on them. Look, I don't think it's the story of this year should be how much greater the Philadelphia defense has been. That should be the story. That should be the real story. Instead, you hear a lot of the bickering around the offense of scheme at this point. What I don't understand is why is all of the hate being directed towards the quarterback and not the offensive coordinator? I do not understand that to save all of my days. Because the thing
I'll
is,
tell you why, but I'll let you continue.
but I don't understand that. Everybody wants to point, and even on the team, AJ Brown was pointing at the quarterback. That's not his fault. This is the
Or it
fourth.
wasn't just Jalen Hurts. Did you hear what he said about Saquon?
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Great minds think alike.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, this is the fourth offense they've had to learn in the past 4 years. When you look at a lot of dynasties or a lot of teams that is repeating or going for a repeat, they've all had their coordinators the very next year. When you think about the Dallas Cowboys, when they were trying to repeat, they had Norv Turner the very next year. They've had it. When you think about every team when they're trying to repeat, even think about the Patriots when they had Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss. When they're in the middle of a big run, then guess what? You still have a lot of things intact. When you start losing a lot of those foundations, that is when a lot of things go haywire. Prime example, when Buddy Ryan left the 85 Bears the very next year, you saw that defense was never the same as far as the tenacity was concerned. Statistically, they were, but tenacity they were not. But I digress. This is the fourth offense they've had to learn. And look, man, is it just safe to say, look, man, if you were losing, then I can understand. But even in still, do what Justin Jefferson is doing. Y'all heard in the news that Justin Jefferson has been talking to J.J. McCarthy, making sure, look, keep your confidence, keep your poise. And they went from 14-3 to having the season that they're having right about now. So if Justin Jefferson, who is the best receiver in the league right about now, can do that with his teammate, then guess what? And he has gone from 14-3 to the record that he has now. What can you do as a teammate if you're A.J. Brown in order to make sure that you don't have any friction within that locker room? You got to make sure that you're winning. You're on the road to a repeat. How does it look? Just back me up on this. How does it look? You have a guy in Justin Jefferson. I have gone from 14-3 to the record that I have now. I might not even make the playoffs this year. And you are staying on top of your quarterback, man. Don't lose your confidence. Don't lose anything. Although you might be frustrated visibly, you're not airing it out like a ceiling fan in the media. You're not talking about your teammates. You're making sure your quarterback, as young as he is, stays confident. Hey, man, stay confident. How does it look when Justin Jefferson is doing that? And he went from 14-3 to the record he has now. And you're in the running for a repeat in the Super Bowl, and you're complaining about getting the darn ball. You win it. How does that look? It doesn't look good. And I will understand that people are going to say, well, the context, y'all don't understand the context that he was using with Saquon Barkley. He should have never said his name in the first place. I don't care what context that you was using it in. Yes, his production has slipped just a little bit. But guess what? You don't say that crap in the media. Teams are keying in on him. It's
And
not
you
the
just
same
had
offense
and
as it
you
was
just had a
last year.
conversation with Jeffrey Lurie.
Exactly.
So why would you put yourself in that situation?
Exactly. We got another TO in the Philadelphia locker room as we speak.
Oh Lord, don't.
We got another TO in the
I
Philadelphia
know,
locker room.
but don't do this to T.O. T.O. done nothing. But besides, it wasn't all his fault in
No, it wasn't
Philadelphia.
all his fault. But the thing is this. It's comparable to that drama. It's comparable. And the thing is, like I stated, if you were losing games, like I said, and I hate to regurgitate the same information, but imagine how it makes you look. Justin Jefferson is taking the approach that he's taking. He went from 14-3 to the record that he has now. Your quarterback has been out for some time. He comes back and he lays a few eggs. And you're staying on top of him in order to make sure he doesn't lose his confidence, doesn't lose his will, doesn't lose his bearings. And you have the record that you have now going from being one of the best teams in the league last year. Now you have A.J. Brown. You're going for a repeat in the Super Bowl. You're throwing everybody up under the bus, mentioning names, regardless of what context that it's in. You're mentioning names, but but because you're not getting the ball, oh man, we got to do something about this offense. This is the fourth offense that you've learned in the past 4 years.
But what does it say, champ, about the team who acquired him? If he was this way before, what do you think he's going to be now, especially when you're winning? Money and winning, that don't change you. It makes you more than what you already are. So perhaps he was this way before. Do I like the fact that he's taking shot of bringing up Saquon's name and going on Madden Lives and stuff like that? No, I do not. Which is why I said, champ, they have to trade him after the season, because even though we're winning, what's the point of dealing with all this nonsense? I might as well trade him. I may not get much in return. I probably get a third round, a fourth round pick for AJ. And then I have Devontae Smith. I can get myself another wide receiver in the draft. I can work with Jalen Hurts and then just go there. But as for AJ, he needs to go to a team that he can go elsewhere. But the problem is, that's what happens when you have those types of wide receivers. You're going to have to deal with those types of personalities. And look, if I'm AJ, well, to them, unfortunately, it is. They all about their numbers. They all about their stats. As Shannon Sharp said, yeah, they want to win, but as long as they having 10 catches for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. That doesn't happen every single game. Now, you're going to have some great games. You're going to have some lackluster games. But the thing is with AJ, look, and I get it, he's frustrated because, again, you traded him to Philadelphia. You paid him a ton of money. You're not paying him just to be a decoy. I can understand that. But how does it help the team when you constantly throw them under the bus? And when you're supposed to be the professional that you're supposed to be? How does that help? So if you're Philadelphia, is this a sign for things to come? Because even though they're 8-2, sooner or later, something may happen. So, champ, I don't care. After the season, I move on from A.J. Brown. If I'm Philadelphia, He needs to go elsewhere. As for
Absolutely.
me, for Philadelphia, which I'm Howie Roseman, who I have often said he is the best executive in football. Champ, you said he's the Sam Presti of the NBA. I move on. I get some draft picks. I may not get a first, but at least maybe some third round picks, some fourth round picks, somewhere around that ballpark. I have to get something because how is it I have him on this team and he still keep blasting teammates and the coaching staff? And we just had a conversation with him about it. What's the point?
Basically, you basically said it in a nutshell. Like I said, you're winning. How selfish does it look? They even had this look. They even had to explain this to Walter Payton, the late great Walter Payton, in the media after they won the Super Bowl because he was mad as hell that they didn't give him a touchdown in the Super Bowl. They said, "How does it look that your team just won the Super Bowl and you're going to go out and you're going to blast your coach for not running the ball and giving you a touchdown? Do you realize how selfish you're going to sound?" And even he came to his senses, like, you absolutely right. And that's Walter Payton. He understood the assignment on that one. I understand you want to get the ball, but at the end of the day, it's about putting it. Look, Mike Tomlin, say whatever you will. He said it best. When I come to work in the morning, I pass by Lombardi trophies, not receiving titles, not rushing titles. If y'all don't know what I'm referring to, that was back when they was having that Super Bowl run the late 2000s, and Willie Parker was saying we have seen the end of still of football because they were passing the ball a lot more. They wasn't running Willie Parker as much. But he said, and I quote, when Willie Parker said that, excuse me, he said, "My goal is to win the game. And if running the ball brings about wins, then we can do that. If it doesn't, then that's a whole nother ball game. But at the end of the day, when I come to work, I pass by Lombardi trophy. We're trying to get Lombardi trophies. In Philadelphia Eagles place, uh, in the case of the Philadelphia Eagles, excuse me, they pass by two Lombardi trophies when they come to work in the morning. They don't pass by two receiving titles and triple crown titles. That's what they pass by in the morning. That has been their goal ever since they won the world championship post pre Super Bowl era back in the 60s. That has always been their goal, to win Super Bowls, not win receiving titles. So if you're winning and that comes along with it, so be it. But if it doesn't and you have to win ugly, hey, it is what it is. You can't expect the ball when everything is working. When it stops working, then hey, then we have a problem. Because the thing is, the story should be how great this defense has become. They're even greater than they was last year. Because Jordan Davis has stepped up his game. He's looking like the dominant player that they drafted in the first round.
Not just him, champ. Quinshawn Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, I mean, Kobe Dean, Jahadi Campbell. So they have pieces. We instead of talking about that, we just keep talking about the frustrations. But again, controversy sells.
Absolutely.
Sad but true. But speaking of controversy, Jamar Chase. Obviously the incident during the game against the Steelers. He was suspended for one game, fined over $500,000 for spitting on Jalen Ramsey. He even tried to appeal the suspension. Um, look, look. Let's just keep this real short and keep it a buck. That was bogus. That was totally inexcusable on the part of Jamar Chase. I think the reason why he was suspended as well as fined with that type of money, not just in terms of the contract that he just got, he flat out lied.
Yeah.
The press asked him about it, and he lied and he said that he didn't spit on him. But the video, the photo says otherwise. So you put yourself in that terrible situation. You put your team in a terrible situation. And I don't get it with spitting because we know for a fact if you spit on someone, that may be the worst thing to do. And look, we saw Jalen Carter when he spit on Dak Prescott. Although, if you go back and if you rewatch the video, Dak did instigate it by spitting, and Jalen Carter reacted that way. He shouldn't have done it that way, which is why I believe, Champ, that was one of the reasons why he wasn't going to be suspended, as well as politics. It was the game just started. The Eagles are the reigning Super Bowl champions. It's the beginning of the season. The following week, they were going to face the Kansas City Chiefs. It would hurt to see the star defensive player benched against the Kansas City Chiefs. We wanted to see the rematch between these two teams. With Ja'Marr Chase, why? Yes, the Steelers, they were beating the brakes out of the Cincinnati Bengals, but couldn't you just walked away, moved on, go back to the sideline or whatever, or on the huddle and just moved on? But instead, you did that. And then you flat out lied. So you really put yourself and you really put this team in an embarrassing situation. I'm sorry. I know it sounds redundant, but there's no other way for me to put it in the words or context. What he did was totally inexcusable, and there's no justification for that. So it's real disappointing that he put himself in that situation. And I think moving forward, what the NFL is going to have to do, if you see incidents like with spitting, the punishment is going to have to be harsher. Should the NFL take a page out of rest his soul, the late great David Stern? Because imagine if he saw something like this. How do you think David Stern would have reacted? 5 games.
Minimum.
So I think the NFL moving forward to prevent these types of situations. Look, Troy Vincent, Roger Goodell, and you talk about the safety, you talk about the sportsmanship of the NFL. You're going to have to make the punishment even tougher so that players can contemplate and decide, okay, what am I going to do? I know if I do something like that, it's going to be a 2 or 3 game suspension. So I do think they need to increase the punishment. If they want to increase the fines, that's fine. But moving forward, the NFL, their punishment needs to be harsher so that the players can realize, okay, if we do something like this, we know what types of consequences we're going to face. So whoever wants to start first.
I'll set the tone on this one if you don't mind, BRF man.
Go for it.
What I do not get is the gimmick of spitting on somebody, especially when you're in a violent sport already. I don't get it. There's an old saying that we have down south. If I don't get you on the wash, I'm gonna get you on the rinse. You got me this play, I'm gonna get you the next play. I don't get the gimmick behind spitting on somebody, and you're already in a violent game. It's just like, okay, you got me this play. Okay, I'm gonna get you back. And it's legal. It ain't like basketball. You get a hard foul and don't nobody see it, and you go complain about it to the ref. No, you block, you do all of that every play. You go head up every play. I don't get the gimmick behind you spitting on someone. And to your point, PSP, you're absolutely right. Had he not lied, I think they just would have gave him a fine and moved on because
Exactly.
really because if you really look at it, there's no precedent for it. Bill Romanowski, he got fined. I think that was one of the most controversial. T.O., he got fined. Late great Sean Taylor, he got fined. Jalen Carter, he got ejected and he got fined. So the precedent for that is you getting fined. So look, from now on, you get caught spitting on somebody. First and foremost, if they knock you block off, that's no penalty. And that's no fine for them because you spit on them. Because, hey, man, look, down south, And probably the same thing up north. If you spit on somebody and they react a certain way, then it's pretty much justified. If they punch you in the face, that's justified. If they slam you on the ground, that's justified. If they put 3 hot ones in you, that's pretty much justified. So if you won't do it out there on the legal world, don't do it on the football field. And you gotta look. And the last thing I am is a class police. I'm not a class policeman. Show some class, but bro, show some darn respect. Show some respect. Kids are watching you. Kids that want to be you. You out here spitting on people. And then when you got your head knocked off, unfortunately the reaction gets the penalty because the referee didn't see it. But I think there needs to be some reviews in place. If somebody hit somebody like that, there should be a review on that saying, look, let's see if something happened beforehand. There has to be something because guess what? Jalen Ramsey went off and just hauled off and just slugged him about a couple of times. And rightfully so. He shouldn't have been ejected. Well, they both should have been ejected because, of course, they don't want to see that on the field.
Although I wouldn't blame Ramsey for retaliating.
Yeah, but I don't blame him
understand.
for retaliating. You lucky I ain't slam you on your head and tombstones you behind. So that's just, you can look how you want. That's just a fact. You spit on me.
You said tombstone, like God damn.
If I tombstone your behind, then guess what? That's justified. You just spit on me. So if I dump you on your head or either Goldberg you, that's on you. You just spit on me.
Ooh, you right though.
Look, somebody walk up on the street. Look, look. I ain't gonna even look. You spit on me on the street. That's a shot. That's a shot to the kidney. That's a shot to the kidneys minimum. That's a body shot minimum. As far as a punch is concerned, that's a body shot to the kidneys as hard as I can. You gonna at least be leaking for a week. You spit on me. You might well just go ahead and just punch me and just start off the fight. And then we'll be able to just, have an adult beverage after the fight if you do that. You spit on me though, that is that's a flagrant foul. That gets some Johnny Cage stuff done to you. So yeah, I don't understand the gimmick behind you're already playing a contact collision sport. Somebody gets you this play, you get them back the next play. You spitting on somebody though? Then lying about it. I saw you. You saw me see you. It's getting out of control, bro. It's like, bro, and like I said, show some dignity, show some class. Like, you don't want kids to see that. You don't want youngins to see that. And you ain't got no business doing that. Spitting on somebody? You got way too much. Now you're losing $500,000 because you won't spit on somebody.
And what's so ironic, he's trying to appeal it.
Trying to appeal it for what? He's talking about he would have spit. If I was trying to spit on, I'd have spit on his face. And then I'm gonna just be real. A lot of guys these days, you didn't grow up in the 90s when we was throwing them hands, and it shows. You didn't grow up in the 90s when we were thumping. When somebody say, meet me after class, I got something for you. A lot of these guys, I can tell a lot of the TikTok generation, they didn't grow up where me and BRF grew up. Well, we gonna see about that after class. A lot of guys have never been punched in the mouth or faced consequences for their actions. And it shows. A lot of guys have not been punched in them, and we need to normalize getting punched in the mouth when you do something stupid. Because you are appealing a situation, saying if you would have done it on purpose, you would have spit in his face. Are you serious? Like I said, I don't know what to say about these. I don't know what to say about some of these young guys. Like I said, you can tell a lot of them ain't been into fights or real fights outside the field because, look, man, my father taught me a long time ago, you do not spit on another person. You don't kick another person. You don't put your hands on another person. And you don't get in another person's face. And look, they used to have an old saying down south, and we can't say it here. If you spit on somebody, be prepared to take it to the highest level. I'm pretty sure you know what that saying is, BRF.
Hey, yeah, I do.
They used to tell us that, look, as you're growing up, if you spit on somebody, be prepared to take it to the highest level, because they're not going to stop until they do that to you. They used to always tell us that. My father used to tell me, do never spit on anybody, never kick anybody, never badmouth anybody's woman, none of that. Those are capital punishment caliber offenses in the real world. So they used to always tell us down south, never ever do those things, especially spit on somebody, unless you're able to take it to unless you are willing to take it to the highest level. And guess what? It may be fatal at that point. They used to always tell her that. Don't be spitting on nobody unless you're willing to do another thing to them. And then you probably gonna end up behind bars for a very, very long time if it end up going that far. So yeah, a lot of y'all guys in the NFL, y'all need to learn how to control yourselves, because spitting on people, you don't spit, they tell you do. The funniest thing about that, when we was playing on the playground, they tell you don't spit on the ground. When we was playing on the playground back in the day, coach used to tell you, don't spit on that ground. If you spit on the ground, I'm gonna make you get it up with your hand. You don't spit on the ground. It's frowned upon for you to spit on the ground, much less a human being. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous.
BRF.
Man, spitting is like the ultimate form of disrespect. That's why it's so frowned upon. It's like the ultimate sign of disrespect. It's like you're beneath me. And a guy like Jalen Ramsey, who's been in this game for a while, at one point was like the undisputed best corner in the league. Like has a ring, has a Super Bowl ring. As a matter of fact, beat the Bengals to get his ring when he was with the Rams. So he's been there, done that. He understands. But one thing I've noticed about Jalen Ramsey, if you've seen like a lot of his clips, when he's mic'd up and he's talking this stuff, he ain't scared to send somebody to the upper room if you need to send him to the upper room. He ain't scared. So Ja'Marr Chase pretty much welcomed that, spitting on him. So it's like, how else did you expect him to react? Kind of like that reporter was talking to asked that question to Mike Tomlin about how he should have handled it and all that. And Mike, that was kind of a leading question on him. Mike Tomlin was like, hey, you handle it the way you need to handle it. Mike Tomlin is just, he's that gritty, he's that no nonsense type of coach who probably, he might say the right things on camera in front of the reporters and everything. But in that locker room, he probably saw Jalen Ramsey and dapped him up a little bit. Because at the end of the day, hey, you handle it the way you need to handle it. And like I said, it's the ultimate form of disrespect. So I don't blame Jalen Ramsey one bit for trying to give him a two-piece in the face. I don't blame him at all. Don't blame him a bit. Yeah, man, like a lot of these, it's almost like a lot of these guys nowadays, it's like they're not scared of consequences. It's like they're not scared of the consequences because I guess it's like they don't expect any consequences. Then, they just, they do what they want, they get away with it. And I think, that's like, it's honestly not a good way to be, because, because it's one of those things where it's like you think you're gonna run into the wrong person. I'll just say that. You're gonna do some of the things you do and you're gonna do it to the wrong person, and it's not gonna be a good day for you. So Ja'Marr Chase got to be smart with his actions, because he is too, with the state of the Cincinnati Bengals, he's too valuable to that offense to be missing any games at this point. Are they a playoff team? No. But at the very least, if they want to remotely be competitive, he's too valuable to that offense. Way too valuable to that offense. Don't get me wrong. T. Higgins is a beast. He's probably the best number 2 receiver in the game. Don't get me wrong. But Jamar Chase is still that engine. Like everything revolves around Jamar Chase as far as, you know, giving, taking burden, taking pressure off for other guys, getting bracket coverage, double teams and all that stuff, giving other guys an opportunity to make plays, whether it be T. Higgins, whether it be a Chase Brown in the backfield. Like Jamar Chase really opens up a lot for those other players, and he's too valuable to be making mistakes like that and costing himself a game like that, because for me it's almost certain he's missing in this game. It's almost certain. Just go ahead and sit it out, big dog. I mean, you earned it. You can appeal all you want. Go on, sit that next game out. Because you really ain't doing yourself any justice or any favors trying to appeal it. Because now you just kind of look, I don't know, you look kind of spoiled in a way. You look kind of spoiled. Like, why you sitting me out of game? You spit on somebody. And then, yeah, like y'all said, I probably think they would have let him off the hook if he had been up front and told the truth. I mean, it's a fact that you basically told a bold-faced lie about it, and they caught you on camera. It's pretty much what it boiled down to. You told a bold-faced lie. I mean, bro, you stand up like a man. Just take it. Yeah, I did it. Apologize. Fine. Well, first off, the hell with the reporters. Find Jalen Ramsey first. Apologize to him like a man. Then say what you need to say to the reporters in the press conference and all that. Say what you need to say then. But yeah, you pretty much earned and deserve to miss that game for doing that to another guy. It's the ultimate form of disrespect. So I'm telling all y'all out here, y'all gotta hear me. Spitting on somebody, don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you want your teeth throwing gang signs, don't spit on nobody. Don't do it. Because I promise you, there is a person more than willing to give you a 2-piece and a biscuit and send you to the hospital to get your teeth checked. Someone needs y'all not to do that anymore. Lay off of that. Handle your business like men. Don't go spitting on somebody, because that's cowardly. That's cowardly. That's a coward way out. And especially if you're not expecting to get hit. So I'm just saying, spitting on somebody, that is the ultimate form of disrespect. That is not the way to go. So
Yep.
handle your business a little better. And I promise you, everything will be all right. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, something like that happen again, and they having to wear like literal mouthpiece everywhere they go because they missing teeth.
Hey, in the great words of my grandfather, there's some people out here that'll eat the soles off your feet with your shoes on. So be careful.
Well, it says right here, according to AI Overview, Jamar Chase again was fined for spitting on Jalen Ramsey, resulting in a 1-game suspension and a total financial penalty of over $507,000. The NFL upheld the suspension after an appeal, costing him weekly salary of approximately $448,000 and a per game bonus of 58,000, over 58,000. So, hey, he's gonna have to learn his lesson. I mean, it's really unfortunate that he really put himself in that situation. That shouldn't happen. And look, we said it. I don't understand the spitting part. Everyone knows if you spit on someone, you just crossed the line. That's something that you just don't do. He could have just walked away. He could have done something else. But again, like I said to you, as you mentioned, champ, had he not lied, I don't think he would have been suspended. He would have definitely been fined, no doubt about that. But why lie? Just own it. The video, the evidence is clearly there. Just own it. But you made matters worse, and then to appeal.
Ugh.
That doesn't in Don King, as Don King always said, only in America.
Hey, in the great words of John Gotti, the late great John Gotti, you only lie when you're afraid. Always tell the truth.
Fellas, let's move on. Let's talk about Shador Sanders. He didn't have the best game in the world, albeit against the Baltimore Ravens, but let's be honest. Did anyone anticipate that he was going to actually play in that game? I didn't. I don't think you, champ, BRF, did you?
No.
Mm-mm.
But look, he didn't play particularly well. 4 of 16. Look, I'm just gonna keep this real short and sweet. That's not indicative. That's not a reflection of what Shador Sanders is going to be. He hasn't practiced or played with the first team all reps. He's going to be the starter this week. Let's wait and see for further evidence regarding Shador Sanders. Um, Cleveland, Myles Garrett. Hey, another great performance by you was wasted. He had 4 sacks in that game. He leads the NFL in sacks right now with 15. Um, he brought that on himself by staying with the team. I understand money and financial reasons, but not all money is good money. And he could have went elsewhere. He wouldn't make as much money like he is in Cleveland. Nevertheless, he would have made a good amount of money given his value, given what he is. And on top of that, he would have more importantly put himself in the best position to compete. So you're stuck with Cleveland. And look, I've heard a lot of people what they said about Shador Sanders, whether he's being sabotaged, whether the Browns don't want him, Kevin Stefanski is their type of QB or whatever. Look, all I'm going to say is regarding that game, they'll just look at the numbers. 4-16, he was horrible. Shador made some nice plays, made some solid throws. I still, again, we need to see him better prepared. We need to see him more with first teams in order for us to have a better evaluation, a better judgment of Shador Sanders. And if you're Kevin Stefanski, considering how Dylan Gabriel has played, why couldn't you at some point put in Shador Sanders for first team reps so that Shador Sanders could be further ahead? Doesn't make sense, but again, it is Cleveland. Um, they just can't find a way to get it together with the quarterbacks. Isn't there now their 18th quarterback that they're about to start and still like a losing record?
They they've started more quarterbacks in their history than there have been American presidents.
That should tell you all you need to know, folks.
Dude, stats
they
for your ass.
Mhm.
they have started more. They have had more starting quarterbacks in their franchise's history than America has had presidents. And America was born in 1776.
Well, here's a
We're
comment.
on so we're on President 47 now. So they've had at least 50.
Well, here's a comment from our guy Dwayne Coleman where there was some idiots talking about where he starts. There's no excuse. I'm like, bro, he's playing with the Cleveland Browns. Well, he's not in the best situation to succeed or flourish. But look, like I said, champ, we gotta wait and see what's gonna happen with Shador Sanders. I would like for him. I don't know if there's any noise from the background, but
Oh, that's probably me. My
oh, I'm
bad.
sorry. No, it's all good. But
Trying to
I
adjust
think,
my
champ,
mic.
no, it's all good. Don't worry about it, big fella. But champ, I think it's best for Shador Sanders to go elsewhere. Because if this is how Shador Sanders is going to be evaluated by not getting enough first team reps and by Cleveland, then I'm sorry. I'm Shador Sanders. I try to get up out of here. And I would like to go to a team with coaching and structure. Doesn't need to be a big fancy market, anything like that. I would like to see him go to the Rams. I would like to see him go to a team with a good enough head coach, a competent starting quarterback where I can just sit and learn the offense as much as possible, get some first team reps with the offense in practice, and then eventually my number will be called so that I can be better prepared. Could you say that they're sabotaging Shador Sanders? You can make that argument because you're not even getting first team reps. That is embarrassing. Whether you believe he's the guy or not for you, you should at least give him an opportunity for him to work with the first team so that he could be developed so that he can grow and evolve as a player. Whether you believe he's the guy for you or not, nevertheless, for him not to get any first team reps is totally a joke. BRF, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I do find it kind of fishy that when Joe Flacco was there and he was the initial starting quarterback, Dylan Gabriel got first team reps as the number 2. So, I mean, wouldn't it be only fitting when Dylan Gabriel became the starter that Shedeur get reps with the 1 because all it takes is one play? You're one play away as the number 2. You are one play away. I mean, I don't. I mean, if people can't see, it's clear that Kevin Stefanski ain't a fan of his. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but at the same time, you have to be professional. You have to be a coach about the situation and understand that your backup is one play away from having his number called and being out there and playing ball. And it's not like Dylan Gabriel was like lighting up the league. I mean, he did all right. I mean, it's not like he was not lighting up the league. I mean, I liked some of his decision making. It wasn't always perfect, but I liked, he ran if he needed to run. I mean, he's got decent anticipation on his throws for the most part. He was all right, but I mean, it's not like he was setting the world on fire. And then, it got to a point where he was just like playing like absolutely horrible. So, but I mean, even still though, I personally think it was a mistake for Cleveland to draft 2 quarterbacks anyway. If you weren't going to take one in the first round, which I felt like you should have, and you didn't. And then not only do you take 2 quarterbacks, but you take them in the mid rounds, like in the 4th and the 5th round. So it's like, I don't know where your mindset is. One quarterback, okay, you took Dylan Gabriel in the 4th, okay, that's fine. But then you follow it up with Shedeur, and I'm just like, okay, what are you doing? Like, what is the method to the madness you got going on here? Because you definitely got some madness going on. It was just, I don't think anybody could put their finger on the Cleveland Browns thought process at the time going into the draft, taking both Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. But but it's like I said, you had Dylan Gabriel taking first team reps when Joe Flacco was the starter because you knew he's a play away. You should have been doing the same thing with Shedeur Sanders. And the fact, I mean, when he came out when they said, "Oh, this is the first time he played with the first team like all year," I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Kevin Stefanski, you are a 2-time AP Coach of the Year. What are you doing? What are you doing? You should have been getting Shedeur as ready as possible in case his number needed to be called as well. Honestly, at this point, it's like you have to see what you have in him now. I mean, you don't have a choice. He's going to be the starter this Sunday. You have to see what you have. You have to get him ready, and you have to prep him the best way possible to go out and play well. Because, I mean, let's face it. Yeah, he might have been 4-16. Man, I counted 5 drops. Those receivers did not help. Those receivers did not help him at all in that game. Shedeur was making some good throws in the game.
Not to mention the one throw he made in the end zone.
Pretty ball in the end zone. Was that good coverage? Absolutely. But he gave his guy a chance to make that play in the back corner of that end zone. He gave his guy an opportunity to make the play. And honestly, it's that old adage. If you get your hands on it, you gotta catch it. It's that old adage. If you get your hands on the ball, you gotta catch it. And that was at least 5 opportunities I've seen guys get their hands on the ball and drop it, despite the coverage. And I get it. Hey, this is the NFL, man. This big boy football. You playing against the best of the best, but this big boy football on both. You're a pro. I mean, they pay you to go out and make those hard catches like that. That's what they pay you to do. So those were missed opportunities to help your quarterback get the ball down the field, make more plays, possibly score more points. Because you may say, oh yeah, he was 4 of 16. Shedeur actually looked pretty good out there with his throws and his accuracy. He looked good. It's not. It'd be one thing if he was just all over the place and looked horrible. Shedeur didn't look horrible at all in his first game. He looked poor, calm, cool, collected. He didn't seem like he was rattled. It just at the end of the day, the plays weren't falling for him. And Rex Ryan, we need to have a little talk, sir. We need to have a chat. We need to have a chat. I'm about sick of you, sir. Okay, we get it. You don't like Shedeur. Completely understand. Quit finding ways to nitpick this dude, bro. He was sitting on the sideline. He was making it about him. Lamar Jackson was looking for him. He should have went and looked. Shut up. Okay, shut up. There are more important ways you can nitpick this dude other than, oh, he's on the sideline, sitting on the bench, he's making everything about him. Shut up.
It looks pretty
Shut
bad.
up.
It looks pretty bad when Emmanuel Acho is calling you out.
Like, dude, like, shut up.
I'm sorry,
Shut
but
up.
hey, that's the truth, big fella.
Like, bro, it's like you can tell when the media doesn't like certain personalities or certain athletes. You can always tell when they don't like someone because at least once a week, if they even as so much wipe they butt the wrong way, it gets called out in the media. It's ridiculous, and I'm not even trying to make excuses for the kid. I'm not trying to make it. I'm not in no way trying to make excuses for Shedeur Sanders because the numbers are going to show he didn't play that well. But if you really dive into the context of the situation and you really look at the game tape and you look at the highlights, he threw the ball pretty well considering he never got first team reps. He threw the ball pretty well. He ran when he needed to run. He made plays. And even on a couple of the balls he completed were chunk plays, getting the ball down the field. But I'm sorry, y'all got to stop nitpicking this dude. Does he bring some of it on himself? Absolutely. His last name is Sanders, though. What do you expect? His daddy is the greatest corner in the history of the game and would let you know when he shuts you down. That's Deion Sanders, bro. What do y'all expect? But I understand they're gonna rub people the wrong way. But at the same time, I feel like he can border on cockiness a little bit. But at the same time, if you in the NFL and you believe in yourself, I would rather you come into the league and believe in yourself as far as your talents and your abilities, as opposed to not telling everybody what you think you can do. You should believe in yourself when you come into the league. I don't know, man. I saw that clip when Rex Ryan was talking about him sitting on the sidelines and making it about himself, and I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. This dude probably feels like crap. He probably feels like he cost his team the game. As a matter of fact, I heard in reports that he was taking it on himself. And his teammates were defending him like, no, man, like Myles Garrett, like, no, we got to play for him too. It's not just you. It's all of us. We got to play for you too.
And he also made it clear he didn't want to be a distraction to Dillon Gabriel.
And we talked about that. We talked about that on UGSP, the last episode. We talked about that. And how do you not respect someone coming from Shedeur Sanders' perspective to be like, hey, I love the love. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate y'all supporting me. But y'all got to show more love to Dillon Gabriel. He's the starter. You got to show more love to him. I don't want to cause a rift. I don't want to cause a distraction. How do you not respect that? How do you not respect the guy as a rookie coming in, making a statement like that, making a stand like that, saying, hey, I appreciate y'all, but at the end of the day, Dillon's the guy. Y'all got to show him more love. I don't want to cause any rifts. And it's like, okay, this is a far cry from the arrogance and the cockiness and everything that y'all talking about pre-draft and all that stuff. This is a far cry from here. It's almost like It's almost like he's got a dad that could, that kind of could show him the way as far as like how to handle the media in the National Football League. I mean, I'm just saying. But I'm sick of the nitpicking of him. I'm really sick and tired of it. It ain't at this point, it's not even making excuses anymore. It's quit trying to nitpick Shedeur Sanders on everything he does. Because I wasn't even thinking about the fact that he was sitting on the bench after the game and didn't look for Lamar. And I'm pretty sure he found him eventually. Because you can't, because Lamar Jackson is like, it's like this, it's this evolution of quarterback. And it's the evolution of it's the evolution of the, let's just keep it a buck, it's the evolution of the black quarterback in the sport. Like young guys saw Michael Vick, they saw Cam Newton, they see Lamar Jackson now with all of his successes, his MVPs, making it to the AFC Championship game, like just how game changing of a player that he's been, and guys see that, they admire that, and they respect that. So I'm pretty sure he found Lamar at some point and hollered at him. Like, I don't need all this nitpicking. Like, I saw that clip with Rex Ryan, and I'm just like, dude, you just don't like him. I mean, analyze his game. You could say he was bad, say he was bad. You can even ignore the fact that there were 5 drops. Say he was bad, but sitting on the sideline after the game, that's what we doing. That is what we doing. I mean, come on, bro. Get out of rest. Get out of rest. Y'all gotta quit nitpicking him. Quit nitpicking him, because I promise you this: if he ends up being a success story and he turns into a really, really good quarterback, the diehards that truly support him are going to save every single. They're going to find and they're going to save every clip of every analyst, every journalist, every draft pundit that knocked any little thing he did, and they're gonna rub it in their face for years to come if he ends up being a success story. But this nitpicking over the smallest things is just, I don't know, it makes my ass itch. It's annoying. It's annoying, bro. It's annoying. It really is.
Oh, look at this. He's not familiar with Southern jargon of BRF.
It's annoying. It's annoying, bro. It just it rubs me the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way. Just
God damn.
I
Okay.
didn't mean to hit you with the soul like that, but I mean, it's just, it irks me. It irks me when you nitpick any wrong move. It just,
well, it irks me all the time listening to Jason Whitlock's ass, but I digress. But
I got him in a TikTok earlier, so I'm saying.
Before I let Champ go, I'm breaking down this report. This is according to Ross Dellinger, who is from Yahoo Sports covering college football. LSU is finalizing terms of a contract proposal and is seeking Lane Kiffin's commitment within the next week.
Damn. I wanted him to stay at Ole Miss, man.
Big fella.
I wanted him to stay at Ole Miss, man. I think that number one, I think that he's gonna be able to recruit a hell of a lot more. He's gonna have a lot more money in his pocket at LSU, and his resources are gonna be grand. But I don't look, let's just keep it all the way a buck. Lane Kiffin is the James Franklin of the SEC. Let's just keep it all the way a buck.
I like that comparison.
Look, am I lying?
I like that comparison.
He's the James Franklin of the SEC. He will lose a big one when he has to win it. That is why
Virginia Tech just hired him.
Yes. And we don't worry, we're gonna get into that later on the show. But
so yeah, he's the James Franklin of the SEC. He's gonna lose a lot more big ones than he's gonna win. And we've seen it everywhere he has gone. From Florida Atlantic and now to Ole Miss. He's lost a few against us, a few against Alabama. He's lost a few where he actually had the game won.
Or you could say he was the Ryan Day before the Natty.
before the Natty, yeah. But I want to see him win, to see him stay at Ole Miss. Number one, he built that culture at Ole Miss. He built a winning culture. He was able to, he's on the verge of a college football playoff. And imagine how, look, I'm gonna just be real. What I hate is this. Stop trying to hold kids to grown men standards. What do you mean by that, champ? You know what? If one of these kids was saying, I'm finna enter the transfer portal and entered the portal during the season and was negotiating new deals during the season, what would we call that young man?
Selfish.
Selfish, immature, self-centered, spoiled. But Lane Kiffin gets to negotiate during the season, by the way, much like Bobby Petrino did, with the Falcons. It's headline news. This could have waited until after the college football playoffs. So that way these young men are not distracted. This should have to wait until after the season. You should not be allowed to negotiate with coaches during training camp and during the season. Because now it creates a distraction with these young men. They're wondering what their fate is going to be. Who's going to be the new head coach? Am I going to have to enter the transfer portal? Guess what? They may tell you to turn off the outside noise, but guess what? You're still thinking about your coach is about to leave. So if a kid says, hey man, next year I'm entering the transfer portal, then, oh yeah, he's selfish, he's self-centered, he's not worried about the team. But this guy gets to sign a fat old contract in the middle of the season, 2 games before the end of the season, 2 games before the Egg Bowl. Mind you, these young men are about to go on Thanksgiving break.
Yes.
These young men are about to go to Thanksgiving break right before the Egg Bowl, the biggest rivalry in Mississippi. They're about to go on there, and on top of that, they're getting ready to go to the college football playoffs because they have a record good enough in order to do that. Can you imagine the distractions that are going through their head at this point? Should I transfer? Should I go pro? Coach Kiffin is not going to be here. But yet, we hold these young kids when they say I'm entering the transfer portal to the highest of standards. But yet, he's getting ready to sign a fat contract with a school, by the way, who's trying not to pay their previous coach the money after they physically fired him. Now they're trying to say, well, we didn't officially fire him. He just didn't come to work. He's literally going to work for that school who's already mired in a controversy over buyout money. So let's keep the same energy. When we see these young men leave and go to the transfer portal, that's like I don't want to hear nothing else about the transfer portal. That has killed college football. No. Hell no. Not when these coaches in the middle of the season, when they're distracting the team, guess what? They get to sign a big fat contract. And guess what? It's so bad that the alumni and the athletic director had to put pressure on them and put an ultimatum on them in order for him to make the decision. So let's stop holding these young men to grown man standards. Guess what? Lane Kiffin is grown. He can do whatever he would like. But guess what? When he gets a fat contract, everybody wants to, yeah, he deserves it. Okay. When these kids say, I'm finna go somewhere else and go to the transfer portal because guess what? I want to get paid more. Let's stop looking at them as selfish. I don't want to hear that ever again because this guy's signing a fat contract in the middle of a college football playoff run. The team can very well has a chance to go win the college football playoffs. But in the midst of that, the team and these young men are being distracted about the point that you may leave and go to LSU. It's inexcusable.
Yeah.
And when people start talking about the transfer portal and all of that, Now that you're seeing this, I don't want to hear anything else about these young men transferring or asking for more money, because in the middle of a college football playoff run that you have a chance to go and win, by the way, you're going to sit around here and sign a contract and distract these young men. I don't want to hear anybody else, any football savant, talk about these young men or young women when it comes to college basketball, volleyball, saying, well, you're being selfish. No, because when these coaches go sign these fat ass contracts, you don't say a word. You tell them they're good coaches and they're allowed to move on.
And shout out to our guy Grant. LSU is playing, y'all. Champ, I sent you the report just now. But look, Champ, real quick on I want to get your take on Shedeur Sanders real short and quick because we got to talk about James Franklin.
Look, whether people want to acknowledge this or not, he has to go out here and have a good performance. They're looking for a reason to write him off. They're looking for a reason to nitpick. Rex Ryan, number one, you weren't no hell of a coach. Number one, you had 2 winning seasons your entire career. You weren't no hell of a coach. You had 2 winning seasons. And during the course of that time, you were more known for your personality and your mouth than winning football games. Let's go eat a you-know-what snack. Not to mention when he had, that little feet thing in the newspaper, in the New York newspaper. So you were a distraction to your team a lot of the times. It's just that you had the personality and, things in order to get away with it those first 2 years. But after those first 2 years in New York, you weren't no hell of a coach. The team got worse and worse and worse after them first 2 years. You weren't no hell of a coach, Rex Ryan. Let's just keep it a buck. You went to those 2 AFC championship, got blown out of the water, and it showed. So stop nitpicking on Shedeur Sanders. Guess what? If you're gonna, the thing is, you had so many. The thing is this, to be honest, point 30 seconds. You had so many positives that you could have stated about Shedeur during the course of that big, huge loss, where he knew and acknowledged that he had a terrible performance. That he went and told the team that it's on me. I'm the reason that we lost. That he went and told everybody, stay off of Dillon Gabriel. That he says, hey, I just want to be a good teammate. I don't want to be a distraction. You saw all of that, but yet you deemed it fit to talk about how he's sitting on the sideline, skipping over everything good that he did, knowing that you were not a good coach yourself. You were known more for your personality than your coaching. So lay off. You were not no hell of a coach. You were nowhere near what your father was. Buddy Ryan was a hell of a coach. You was mid at best. At best.
Appreciate that. And Grant said it again. There's no way they would willingly pay $90 million to Lane Kiffin and all guaranteed $25 million NIL deal after having to pay a buyout of $54 million unless they have Shaq tossing money at them. But you know what? Let's talk about college football coaches. Obviously, the big news, James Franklin in Virginia Tech. I'm reading an article here from ESPN's David Hale. James Franklin's new contract with Virginia Tech will net the former Penn State coach at least $41.75 million over the next 5 years, according to a term sheet released by the school Friday. But details of the contract also offer a nod to a new world of revenue distribution. Franklin's deal, which runs through 2030, is largely backloaded, with Virginia Tech on the hook for $6 million for the 2026 season and up to $13.25 million for the 2030. But there are perks for Franklin, including bonuses of up to $800,000 annually based on Virginia Tech's TV viewership. This dovetails with the ACC's new revenue distribution model that rewards schools with a larger slice of the financial pie based on TV ratings. Franklin will also get more money for support staff based on the number of games Virginia Tech wins, ranging from $200,000 increase for assistants and a $125,000 for supplemental staff for winning 6 games to $800,000 and $575,000 respectively for a 12-win season. I like it for James Franklin. going to Virginia Tech because Virginia Tech is not what it was in the early 2000s or the late 90s with Frank Beamer. Um, it's great for Virginia Tech to have a type of head coach like James Franklin. There's not going to be much expectations. The ACC is not what it was or where it is right now, y'all. Y'all can agree with that. Bill Belichick probably thinking about leaving football, leaving college football, going back to the NFL. Clemson, champ, you talk about the transfer portal with Dabo Sweeney. He's not going to do that anytime soon. You look at Stanford, you look at all the other teams in the ACC, is not looking that really good. So I like it for James Franklin standards. Not that much expectations. He can go to Virginia. Also, the Penn State commits that were there because of Franklin, they're not looking at Virginia Tech. So no surprise there. He's going to try to do his best to recruit the players that he wants and he can further develop. Um, as far as with Penn State, shout out to our guy Broad Sports. Hopefully, what they'll do. Shout out to our guy Broad Sports. I don't know what Penn State will do. I like the interim head coach for Penn State. I don't know his name. Someone can help me like figure it out or help me look for it. I'll look for it myself. But he has done a really solid. He's done a solid job with this team. They almost beat Indiana. I mean, they came back. They were trailing like 10 points in that game. They almost came back and won, but Fernando Mendoza solidified his case for the Heisman. BRF, you not only talked about a Heisman moment for Fernando Mendoza, I think he also made a case for the number one overall pick because if you're a team that's looking for a QB, you may want to look at Fernando Mendoza, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But what I look at Virginia Tech, I'm happy for James Franklin. He can start off because there's not going to be much expectations because Virginia Tech knows the reason why he was let go of Penn State because he just couldn't win the big one. Penn State finally reached the point where they just had enough. I mean, no shame losing to Oregon State. Oh, I'm sorry, Oregon. But there is shame, however, to lose to UCLA, given the fact that the team started off 0-3. They fired their head coach, Deshaun Foster. Nico was struggling with the football game. And then against Northwestern. So now with James Franklin, he can start fresh. The Penn State commits that were there because of Franklin, they're gonna try to go to Virginia Tech. So I like it for James Franklin and also because of the money and everything else. So whoever wants to go.
I'll take it this time. I like the move from James Franklin because it's sort of like kind of I don't know what was going on at Penn State, whether it's just like, the pressure of trying to win a national championship was really getting to him. Like it just felt like a lot of factors that was really getting to him, and it just finally got to a point where, he had to go. But Virginia Tech's a fresh start for him. I mean, we know the guy can obviously recruit. We know he's a good coach. We know he's a good recruiter. He's gonna get players to come to Virginia Tech, and like I said, he does. And it's not like he has to come in and it's not like he's got to come in and win 10 games off the bat. If he just makes Virginia Tech relevant again while he's getting his recruits to the point where in a couple of years they're not only competing for the ACC, but he's trying to get Virginia Tech.
Oh, BRF. BRF.
Yeah.
You know what I also forgot in that argument? Isn't it kind of interesting that James Franklin got a head coaching job, but not yet Brian Kelly?
Well, I mean, Brian, it feels like too many stories are coming out about the, dare I say, fakeness of Brian Kelly, but that's a conversation for another day. And I mean, like, and if we're getting on James Franklin for not winning big games, then what the hell is Brian Kelly? If we're getting on James Franklin for winning big games, what is Brian Kelly? If James Franklin is the prince, Brian Kelly is the king when it comes to not winning big games. So we'll leave it at that. So, but it's good for him because he could come in just rebuilding that culture, just returning Virginia Virginia Tech for what they were in like the early to mid 2000s. Just whether it was Mike or Marcus or Tyrod Taylor when he was there, just those glory days of Virginia Tech where they were competing year in and year out. When that stadium was one of the hardest stadiums to play in college football. So it's good for him, and I think I know he had to kind of weigh his options as far as the colleges that had openings, or colleges he could go to. And I got to give it to him. I think going to Virginia Tech was a pretty shrewd move on his part. I'm not. Hey, it was good. I think it was a pretty shrewd, good move on his part because he can come in, operate on his own terms. He ain't got to wow him right off the bat. But I tell you what, if he comes to Virginia Tech and he knocks off like 8-9 wins his first year as a coach, the fans are immediately like, they're like, oh my gosh, they're in love with James Franklin right off the bat if he can reel off 8-9 wins his first year. And like I said, he's a good coach. He knows how to recruit. He is a player's coach. I mean, the one video of James Franklin that always kind of like that I respect was him driving like during the NFL draft, like literally going an hour between two of his guys getting picked in the first round. So I mean, that's the love a guy like that has for his players. And I think Virginia Tech, the fans, the boosters, everybody, you see clips like that, and it should resonate with you as far as what he's gonna do and how he's gonna want his players to believe in him the way that he's gonna believe in his players. So I like this move for him. I feel like Virginia Tech. I don't know, man. I'll say this with Virginia Tech. Like I'm a Georgia guy through and through, but Virginia Tech for me was always one of those schools that I like to see succeed. It's just like I don't know. It was just something about the atmosphere when you went to Lane Stadium. It was just something about that atmosphere that just even if you're like a fan of a different school and you watched the game on TV and you saw Lane Stadium, you just like, damn, okay, I can get with this, whether they were in the Big East and now with them being in the ACC. I think James Franklin might be the guy to really kind of hopefully bring them back to prominence and hopefully bring them back to a situation where they're competing for championships. I mean, let's keep it a buck. They've been nowhere near relevant since, the era of the college football playoff. And it really was like the BCS era was the last time where they were really like making noise and contending for spots. So I think James Franklin did himself a big one on this. And I think the weight with his style of coaching and his style of recruiting, I think he can get them back. I think he could get them back pretty quickly. He doesn't have to rush anything. I mean, I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to go like 11-2 his first year at Vautech. But I mean, I could see an 8-9 win first season out of him. And honestly, you get that, the roots and everything is gonna come your way because it's basically how it was at Penn State. He didn't come out wowing him out the gate, but when he started getting the wins, the prominence and the respect and just it's gonna come. It's gonna come. I think it was a good move on James Franklin's part to pick Vautech, and I think he can return them. He can return them to the prominence they once had back in the 2000s.
Well, the last time that Virginia Tech was a 500 team, you got to go back to 2018. That's when they finished 6-6, and they lost in the Military Bowl that year. So for James Franklin, if he can get them to 8-9 wins, no one is expecting them to turn Virginia Tech just like that. But if they can be good enough, legitimate, that's all you need. As you always say, champ, don't be pretty, be good. That's all you got to be. Just don't be pretty, be good. Eventually, you'll be pretty as time goes on with your career. But you just got to get the right types of players. You got to have the right type of culture. It seems like a good fit for James Franklin because, after all, he's a good man, family man. I mean, he was a good coach for Penn State and also for Vanderbilt. So he's a likable person. and we would like to see him do well. So, what are your thoughts, champ?
I like it. I don't like it. I love it. I love it. And I'll be short and sweet with it. 2 minutes of your time, no more, no less. He gets to take his time.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to take his time. He gets to take his time and build it. There's no pressure every single year in Virginia Tech in order for you to win and go to the college football playoff. The ACC is mid at best. You get a chance to do and take your time to build a program, get your claws into the program, then see where you can go. The minimum it takes to turn a program around 2 to 3 years.
Around that ballpark.
Around that ballpark. So I think by year 3, we'll start hearing him. If not year 2, knowing how great of a coach he is. By year 2 to 3, we'll hear about him in the college football playoff. But he gets to take his time. That's the thing. I get to take my time. I don't have to worry about these Big Ten guys whining and moaning about how Michigan just won a national championship, Ohio State just won a national championship. Why are you not winning a national championship? And the guys in the ACC, let's just face it, outside of the coach at Georgia Tech, guess what? Those guys are dropping games where they're supposed to win them anyway. Mario Cristobal included. SMU included. So these guys are already dropping games that they're supposed to win. And so they're going to drop a few before it's all said and done. There's only one ACC team that's going to get into the playoffs every year. I got to make sure that I'm it. And I can outcoach these coaches because guess what? Although they may be good coaches outside of Dabo, they're not great coaches. I can outcoach them. I have coached on the highest level. Big Ten is the northern version of the SEC.
Especially how deep they are right now with the new college football playoff format.
Exactly. So he gets to do much like Kurt Cignetti was able to do. Take his time and build it. It's not going to happen overnight, and I'm not going to be pressured with national championship or bust, even if I don't win it by my 3rd year. And look, one thing that I don't think that people are taking in consideration about the house that Michael Vick built when it comes to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, much like Oregon, is known for that speed. Mike Vick, Marcus Vick, Darryl Tapp, D'Angelo Hall, Lee Suggs, Kevin Jones. A lot of great backs, a lot of great players came from Virginia Tech, and they had the speed on their side. So it's a speed factory, much like Oregon. So he can do some things there, and he gets to take his time. So that was huge for James Franklin. I get to take my time and do it the right way. That's the thing, the right way. I don't have to go out here try to grab everybody out of the transfer portal in order to make
He don't need to do that. No expectations.
Yeah, no expectation. I get to build it. I get to take my time in order to do it. Kind of like making a cake. If I got 5 days in order to bake it, guess what? I can let it sit, get all the ingredients that I need, and eventually bake it a day before it has to be ready. If I have to bake it and then I got to make an instant cake, then guess what? It's going to be some smoke in the city.
There you go. There you go. All right, fellas. Let's get into our NFL picks, week 11. Let's try to keep it real short and quick. Oh, big one. Colts versus Chiefs.
The Colts.
I'm going to go with Kansas City because assuming if they can slow down or contain Jonathan Taylor, if they can try to contain him, and if they can try to get Daniel Jones to turn over the ball, but at the same time with the offense and Kansas City's defense, they've done this part this year, champ. They've done this part this season. But if Mahomes, if you just give him an opportunity, and if we could see a little bit more from the offense, I like Kansas City's chances of actually winning this one. So I'm gonna go 23-20 KC.
For the first time, I'm finally. It's kind of you kind of seeing like the. I'm seeing like the big chinks in the armor as far as it can. I'm picking Indy. I feel like I think right now Jonathan Taylor is just the threat of him, and then that bigger threat of the play action as far as Daniel Jones going to Pierce or Pittman or Josh Downs. I just think right now that offense is just woof.
All right.
I'm picking the Colts.
Kansas City is a 3.5 point favorite. Um, Patriots at Bengals. Remember, Jamar Chase will be suspended because of the spitting incident. New England is a 7 point favorite. Board unanimous.
The board is unanimous, Your Honor. The board is unanimous. It has to
Yeah.
be unanimous considering how Drake May is playing.
Yeah, he's a
Travion
he's
Henderson,
a
he
he's,
coming into his own.
yeah. I gotta go. Yeah, I'm picking the Patriots right now. Drake May's in the zone. We don't see too much out of second year quarterback. So and that defense Chris Gonzalez is probably thinking, oh, I don't get to see Jamar Chase. I get to cover T Higgins. Okay, yeah, I'll take this. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take Patriots on that one.
As we wait for our host to get back, what do you make of this whole Drake May versus the media beef that they had while we wait on the host of the show to get back?
It's stupid. I'll just say it for what it is. It's dumb. Like, I mean, what did they? I mean, you can't get mad at a guy like Drake May for saying what he said. I mean, he ESPN, you just got to bow down for ESPN. You got to recognize us over here. Like, man, okay, at the end of the day, you just another network. You
Yeah.
you
Y'all
might be
good?
the biggest network, but you're just another network.
Y'all good? Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, indeed. We was just talking about the
Yes,
Drake
sir.
May versus the media beef before up until you was able to
Oh,
get back. That was it.
yeah.
That was it back. Kind of stalling a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
Cam was gonna.
it's basically
Cam was
it's
gonna.
much ado about nothing for me. Is what it is.
Well, Cam was gonna say something about it. After all, he works for ESPN, and again, Drake May. He grew up in North Carolina, played at the University of North Carolina. So I'm assuming he is a Carolina Panthers fan. So that played also a role as well. But again, look, it's really much to do about nothing. But did y'all pick the Patriots?
Yes, the Patriots.
Yes.
Okay, obviously the next one, Giants at Lions.
Oh,
Leo the
Lions.
Lion.
The board is unanimous. Lions are a 12.5 point favorite. Now, this is an interesting one. Vikings at Packers.
Go Pack, go! Shout out the Flash.
Packers, because again, too much inconsistency from the offense with JJ McCarthy. Even though he did do his part to give Minnesota that lead, but he has been struggling. So I would lean towards Green Bay in this one. It's home. Brian Flores is going to do his part to put pressure on just Jordan Love, but I got the Packers.
Just as long as the right side of the Packers show up. I mean, I get the inconsistency of JJ McCarthy, but let's not forget, a little while ago he went into Detroit, beat them. So it's not like he ain't capable. But I'm gonna count on the real Green Bay Packers standing up and going out winning this game. I'm picking the Packers.
All right, fair enough. Steelers at Bears.
The Bears.
I'm picking the Bears.
Bears. Um, I just think if it comes down to a situation, look, Caleb Williams is just gonna find a way to win. I just look at it. We don't know what type of game we're going to see from Aaron Rodgers. Although expect Darnell Washington to bull rush some people out of UGA. Expect Darnell
That boy,
Washington to do something.
that big boy starting to come into his own at the tight end position. Boy, he been balling.
He is. He's been playing out of his mind. Although I still believe he got to get down to at least 270. I mean, he told Amon Ross St. Brown when he was on Amon Ross St. Brown's podcast that he 311. Got to get down to at least 270. But man, he is a beast. And I wish the Washington Commanders should have drafted him. But that's a story for another
Hold
day.
on, he's
man.
at 311 now.
This is what he said on Amon Ross St. Brown's podcast. You didn't see that, BRF?
I did not see that. He's running and jumping over people like that at 3. Boy, look, hey, don't get me wrong. He was at Georgia, and we saw the athleticism with the size there. If he's playing that big and doing stuff like that on the, good God, that's scary.
That's like Shaq out there.
Boy, that is frightening. That's frightening.
It is, man. The board unanimous on this one. Jets at Ravens.
Get
Yeah.
us liberty from B More, in the great words of Drew Hill.
Yeah, that defense for Baltimore is starting to they starting to kick it up a notch. So yeah, you got to Ravens all the way.
Seahawks at Titans.
Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks.
No, Seahawks.
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 Jaguars at Cardinals.
I'm gonna go Cardinal.
Cardinals.
I'm gonna go with Jacksonville because of their defense and what they can do. I mean, if they had all, you saw how the way they were getting after Justin Herbert. Imagine what they would do against Jacoby Brissett, unless they give Jacoby Brissett enough time in the pocket. You got a battle of the shitters. Browns at Raiders.
Oh, we might see another 5-sack performance. He might get the 20. I'm just being real. He might get the 20.
He might get the 20
the
sacks this game for real.
This might be the game that Myles Garrett gets to 20 sacks. If he gets to 20 sacks, that'll be 12 games that he got into. That'll be 11 games. He got the 20 sacks. That blows whatever record out of the water at that point. So,
the Raiders have no offensive line at all, and then you get to see that man for 4 quarters. May God have mercy on your soul.
Look, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Myles Garrett breaks Derrick Thomas' single game sack record of 7 against the Raiders.
Good God.
I'm gonna clip this.
Yeah, look. This is my bold prediction. That Raiders offensive line is so bad that he breaks that record against the Raiders of 7 sacks in a game. If he breaks that record, he breaks the single season sack record too, right?
Yes.
That's how terrible that offensive line is, and that is how terrible Eugene is.
I'm gonna go with Cleveland because I want to see how Shedeur Sanders plays with the first team reps. Get him just hand the ball off with Jukins and here and there, and when you need Shedeur to use his legs or his arm when needed. But Myles Garrett, he better give me 4 sacks.
Harold Fannin, Jerry Judy catch the damn ball this week.
Well, that's been the problem with Judy throughout his career, his hands. He is tremendous as a route runner. And he's got speed, but his hands. But his hands.
Got bricks for hand.
Manos de Piedra.
Part 2.0.
Unfortunately for BRF and Champ, this is something that they're going to have to stomach. Falcons at Saints. And New Orleans, ironically, is a 2.5-point favorite. Now, remember, Michael Penix Jr., he's out for the rest of the season. This is his 3rd time with the ACL injury. Drake London will be out. Big fella, I hate to do this to you. Are you starting to feel the Saints Or you might as well wear a New Orleans Saints jersey, or you might as well go into the streets of New Orleans and playing juveniles, back that ass up. Are you going to wear or rock the Saints?
Oh, we play back that ass up down in Georgia anyway, so it don't matter where we at with that song.
Well,
Hey man, look. Hey, Lil Jon's bounce that is better than back that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be real. So, but especially for this Sunday. So for this Sunday, Aints, you can go jump in the Gulf of America because forever I love Atlanta.
and if you lose to New Orleans, what's gonna happen?
If I lose to New Orleans, let me see what I can do if I lose to New Orleans.
What, a double Henny?
No, I'm trying to watch the calories, dude. Just being honest. I'm 30 days sober. So hell.
We don't for some reason.
I'll find me a little weird ass hat in order to wear outside of the Cartman hat in order to wear.
What, you gonna wear one of Dennis Rodman's hats?
You know what? I will find me one of them Harry Potter hats on one of the something. I'll find me something. You know what? You know, like that little furry hat that he had on that Chris Rock video where he said, "Take off that silly old hat." Yeah, I might find me one of them or something. But yeah, man, Atlanta, look, go out there and whoop up on these guys. Tyler, they ain't none of them guys on that team as far as quarterback is concerned. They ain't worth the salt in the bread. Go out there and whoop these guys. Come on home. Go back to Magic City because that's about all you can celebrate this year, man. Go on back and find that old man that went to Magic City. Find him and take him there again, man. Because that was seeing that old BRF. You are a fool for that one, man. Seeing that old man at Magic City, man, that was the funniest thing I had seen.
Boy, that old man said the women were thick as train smoke. Like, bro.
BRF, I'm not gonna waste your time with this one. Obviously, you lean towards Atlanta because we all know how much you can't stand them Aints.
Well, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Am I picking Atlanta to win? I am, but I'm not picking it because of the offense. I'm making a bold prediction right here. That defense, they're second in the league in sacks. They already have 34. They had 31 all of last year. It's a damn shame. We as fans have been complaining about a pass rush for the last decade, and then we finally get a pass rush, and the offense is like 28th in the league in scoring. Like, we can't win for losing. With that being said, we don't have good luck in New Orleans. It's like no matter how good we're doing, we find a way to split. And it's always, we beat them in Atlanta and they beat us in New Orleans. I'm picking them because I'm making a bold prediction. I think the defense gets at least 5 more sacks. Because I think right now, Jalen Walker and James Pierce, say what you want about the Falcons not having a first-round pick for 2026. James Pierce, they are first and third in terms of rookie sacks this season. They both been playing really well this season. And I feel like I almost picked New Orleans, but I think they win this with their defense. But I will say this though, Billy Bowman hurt his Achilles, and I think they're fearing that it's torn. So that's another injury for our team as far as like losing key pieces. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. But I think our defense is going to hopefully control the tempo and just make Tyler Shuck's life completely miserable. They have to if they want to win this game. But I am gonna pick them. Kirk Cousins, do something. Just do something.
If Tyler Shoe throws for like 230, 300 yards in that game, and if y'all lose, I don't know what to say. You thought what Bryce Young did was gut-wrenching. This may be it.
At this point, man, it is what it is.
I think
a lot of people put like a little too much stock. I think they kind of over. I mean, we love the team. Don't get us wrong. I think people kind of overestimate like how we react when they lose. It's kind of like it is what it is. If they win, great. If they lose, I mean, it is what it is. This season's pretty much a lost cause anyway. We're not going to the playoffs. So it's one of those things where you want to see him be competitive at this point. Be competitive.
No, BRF, no BRF. I don't want you to be. No, don't make them be competitive because you know what happens if they're competitive. They'll start to win games, and that means you're going to be stuck with Raheem Morris.
Look, I honestly I feel like at this point he has to go regardless of where they finish. Arthur Blank has to look at this team, has to look at them. It's not just about well they're playing for him. We got to keep them. The morale of the team, just the morale of the fans. Even though I'm still on the lineup, the hell with the fans because they've done a lot of crazy stuff. But at the same time, he's got to look at things in Atlanta and how things are rolling, and it's like, regardless of how they finish, you cannot bring Raheem Morris back. You can. I feel like you can go.
So not just him, Zach
They
Robinson.
can run the table. I'm not bringing Raheem Morris back.
Not just him, Zach Robinson. You already made
Yeah,
it abundantly clear
yeah.
that you're done with Zach Robinson.
Even if they ran the table, I would not bring either one of them back because fans are when you can't trust them. You can't trust them, and it's like they got to go regardless of where they finish this year. Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson has to go, and I think that's ultimately going to lead in Jeff Ulbrich going too because he's a Raheem guy, and it sucks because of what he's done with this defense. Because everybody's now going to look at, oh man, Jeff Ulbrich was the one I wanted to stay, and then Bryce Young doing all that. I'm like, bro, when your offense isn't producing because Zach Robinson isn't creative with his play calling. When your offense is staying on the field and your defense is having to play like 60% of the 65% of the game, what do you expect? You can only hold up for so much.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. America's game of the week: Eagles at Cowboys. Philadelphia is a 3-point favorite. I'm gonna pick Dallas because it's at home, and I do think that the Eagles. Look, the Cowboys are looking to get revenge against the Eagles because of the season opener. Obviously, the spitting incident with Jalen Carter, Dak Prescott. Look, like I said last week, they needed a bounce back win. Dallas after that Monday night loss against the Arizona Cardinals, and of course the tragedy of again, rest his soul, Marshawn Kneeland. But if you're Dallas, you want to make a statement game, and you look at the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles defense has been playing very well, very productive, but this may be a moment for the Dallas Cowboys offense to step up. Meanwhile, again, I understand Dallas's defense has been awful, but I do want to see how Quinn Williams, Logan Wilson going up against the Eagles offense, and the Eagles offense have had their struggles, especially with A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I'm going to lean towards Dallas, believe it or not.
I did like what I saw out of Quentin Williams in that first game. He set the tone and brought that dominating presence with him, and just that front seven was just a completely different unit. Even though it was against the Raiders, that front seven was just a completely different animal. With that being said, though, no matter how good that front seven is, that secondary is a get-right game for any offense, regardless of how that front seven is playing. That secondary is a get-right game. So this could very well be a get-right game for that Philadelphia passing attack. But I can't. Dallas got to show me. I'm picking the Eagles. Dallas got to show me.
Big fella, are you going to ride with Mama Champ and the Cowboys?
Mom, this is for you. How about them Cowboys? That is the very first and the very last time you will ever hear me say that. But how about them Cowboys? Cowboys will, in the great words of Jimmy Johnson, they will win the game.
I'm starting to believe more and more Champ is becoming a Dallas Cowboy fan, although he'll deny it.
Oh, I'm not believing that at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Who knows? He may try to go to some Dallas nightclub and wear that jersey.
I do want to go down there. I do want to visit Texas one day and eat some of that food they got cooking that boy. Because Texas, they can throw down there. So I'm
good
saying.
Barbecue. Damn good barbecue.
Yeah, them in Kansas City.
Yes. But Atlanta got some good barbecue too. Georgia got some good barbecue, not like Texas and then, but it ain't shabby.
No, it ain't.
Georgia's like wings and soul food.
Wings and soul food.
But I love that too. You can't argue with soul food.
No, you can't, especially the mac and cheese. And look,
Oh,
make sure the mac and cheese ain't dry when you make it this year, guys. Make sure it ain't dry.
Just give me the collard greens.
Yeah.
Bucks at Rams. Rams are a 7-point favorite. Board unanimous.
Matt, go and win that MVP, Matt. Come on, man. You got make me look like a G here, man. Go and win that MVP. Go and win it.
Wouldn't he be the first Georgia player to win the MVP?
No, he wouldn't be the first. He'd be the first in a while, but he wouldn't be the first.
Terrell Davis won it.
Oh yeah, okay.
He'd be
the first quarterback in order to win.
He'd be the first
Yes.
Georgia quarterback to win it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Terrell Davis. He was so good. He was so damn good that you was so. I was surprised that he didn't win by 3 or 4 of them damn things. So,
The dude went into the Hall of Fame for having one of the greatest peaks in the history of the sport. Them 4 years from 95 to 98. Good God.
Peak was better than Gale Sayers.
Boy.
All right, fellas. And last one, Panthers at 49ers. Panthers are a 7-point favorite.
Ooh. But Brock back though. Brock back. Yeah. If I would give them a chance if it was Mac Jones, but I don't know about Brock. Brock Purdy being back. You know what? I think North Carolina, come on and raise up, take your shirt off, twist it around your head, spinning like a helicopter.
That was for you, Harrison.
That was for you, Harrison. You know what? I'm liking what I've been seeing from Bryce Young as of late. I'm like I said, I've always been a Tet fan. I've always been a Tetro McMillan fan. He is a beast. He's the real deal.
Not just him, his brother too, Jalen.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That family got good genes as far as the wide receiver position is concerned, and that defense will make they will make plays. I'm gonna go Panthers here. I'm starting to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. I'm gonna go Carolina here.
Champ.
North Carolina, come on and raise up, take your shirt off, twist it right your head, feeling like a helicopter. That's for you, Harrison. Or I
got San Fran in this one. Although this is an interesting one from Sports for You Wrestling. Wait till after Sunday, Champ, before being a Jerry fan.
Go away. Get from him with all that foolishness. Get from him.
Who knows? Champ one day maybe sitting next to. Who knows? One day Champ may be sitting next to Jerry Jones. Who knows on that press box? I mean, who knows? But Champ wants to go to the Atlanta game, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. That's where he wants to be.
Man, come on, man. I ain't been to a Falcons game yet, man. I feel like I got to get.
That is a travesty.
I haven't. I've never been to one. I have never been to one.
All right, look, I'm gonna just be real. I try not to look. I've been to several, but I try not to go to them. You know why? The Falcons are 0-6 when I attend, so I'm bad luck to my team. So I stayed away from the stadium.
Well, look,
bro. I want some of that cheap food though, bro. I ain't worried about the win-loss record. I want the experience.
Well,
the Hawks are 3-0 when I attend.
I ain't been to one of their games either.
Damn.
I've only been to Braves games.
Yeah. Braves, they're 5-0 when I attend.
Yeah, I've only been to Braves games. I attended games at Fulton County Stadium. I've attended games at Turner. I have not in Truist yet, but I've been to Braves games. But I ain't been to Falcons or Hawks games yet.
Oh boy, I'm gonna just be real. Truist Stadium now. The Mercedes-Benz Dome is good. Atlanta Falcons, well, the State Farm Arena was called Phillips Arena, but I'm gonna tell you, man. Truist, the battery, boy, they be taxing.
All right, fellas, we gotta keep it real short and quick because I gotta try to cut these clips in under 4 hours. Babyface heel. Now, for those who may not know what babyface heel means in wrestling terminology, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, tweener is someone in between babyface or heel. So I come up with a list of athletes or celebrities, and me and the panel, we're going to decide whether they are a babyface, heel, or tweener. Le'Veon Bell. I say you can lean towards tweener or heel. Very productive player, especially with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But remember, he did held out in 2018, the franchise tag. And remember what the teammates said about him, Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, how they sided with the Steelers organization, then him. And then, even though I made the argument last week for Andy Reid as babyface, another argument for Andy Reid being a babyface, Le'Veon Bell, of all people taking shots at Andy Reid, he said, I'd rather retire than to play for Andy Reid ever again. And you do understand how crazy that sounds, because considering how revered Andy Reid is around the NFL. Then he was able to move on from Pittsburgh, go to New York, get his money, but he wasn't productive.
Nope.
So, and what's a travesty is you had Big Ben, years younger, AB, Le'Veon, and you never even made one Super Bowl appearance. That is shocking, considering with the loaded offense that y'all had. You also had Martavis Bryant. Y'all also had pieces.
Heath Miller was your tight end.
Yep.
So Le'Veon, I probably lean towards a tweener or a heel.
I'll agree with you, tweener, because not to mention he had that incident in the vehicle when the police stopped him and he said, I'm not drunk anymore. Yeah, y'all should let me go. I'm not. No, he actually got caught with the Mary Jane, where he said, I'm not blazed anymore. Y'all need to. I'm like, what the hell?
Give me 1 second, guys, real quick. But continue on, big fella.
I'm just being real to me. I'm just being real. Did he not say in the great words of
They blew that man high.
Le'Veon was stopped by the police because of the stitch of Mary Jane. Upon being stopped, he said, I'm not high anymore. Y'all need to let me go. I'm like, what? Him and AB caused a lot of distractions for their Steeler organization. I wish they would have got the contract did in order to keep that team together, because he was never the same when he went to the Jets after sitting out for damn near a year. I wish they could have gotten it right. Him and Todd Gurley, talk about missed opportunity. It's like, it was just like they were here. They was like, those two guys, Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley, were like shooting stars. They were here 1 minute and then they were just gone the next. It's just like they were shooting stars and they flamed out on the way to the top. Man, what a tragedy. But tweener, he didn't do anything egregious enough for you to say he's an undisputed heel, but at the same time, he didn't conduct himself with enough, how do you say, respectability in order to be considered a babyface, I would say. But that one really stands out to me, him saying, I'm not blazed anymore. You should let me go. Like, really, dude? Like, go sit down. That ain't how it works.
I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go heel, because I got, what I'm saying, I go through the Twitter, I go through the X feed, and I see them tweets he be putting out every once in a while, and it's them tweets leave a lot to be desired. Some of them viewpoints he be putting out. Yeah, I don't rock with those. I don't rock with his viewpoints. I'll just say that I don't rock with his viewpoints at all. So, very productive player for Pittsburgh. Yeah, definitely heel. He's a heel for me.
All right, that's fair enough. I mean, we can go. But tweener, heel. Needless to say, none of us view him as a babyface, so it's hard to put him in that type of ballpark. All right, next one. Next one. Al Davis. Babyface. No, in all seriousness, he's a babyface given the opportunity he did for blacks, minorities, and women. So he was able to say, hey, I was able to give blacks an opportunities as far as with QBs, coaching staff, management, women. Who was the woman that he got involved with? Amy.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Uh, let me see. Let me check real quick.
I think it was Amy Trask. I think.
Hold on. Let me make sure of that.
Let
Amy
me look it
Trask.
up myself. Yes,
Yes,
Amy
it
Trask.
was Amy Trask. Yes,
Yes,
indeed. And she's also a bestseller.
yes. So the fact that Al Davis was willing to do whatever it takes to win, bringing the team Raiders to LA as well. Also having minorities, having women within the workplace, doing whatever it takes to win. The style, the glasses that he had. Now, look, even though there was some bad picks, you look at and you're like, the Jamarcus Russell one.
Ugh, ugh,
Lane
ugh.
Kiffin called it perfectly, champ, because again, he wanted Calvin Johnson. He did not want Jamarcus Russell. But I lean towards babyface with Al Davis because he was cool, he was hip, he was willing to do whatever it takes to win. Just win, baby. As he always said, just win. And the fact that he was giving minorities and women an opportunity within the NFL. And considering how awful an owner his son is.
Yep. Um, look, I'm gonna just be real. Babyface. I remember the Raiders gear for what it meant to hip hop.
Yeah,
I
Ice
remember
Cube.
that. You know, I never forget this song by Ice Cube, Wrong One to Mess With, to put it in a censored version. I stopped giving juice to the Raiders because Al Davis never paid us. You know, I never forget that song. But he, in fact, later on, he even did a documentary with Al Davis straight out of LA. Al Davis was an innovator. The first black quarterback that was ever drafted in the first round was Eldridge Dickey back in 1968. He was drafted by Al Davis. First black head coach, Art Shell, Al
Mm-hmm.
Davis. First minority coach, Tom Flores, who's in the Hall of Fame, by the way, for after those two Super Bowl wins, Al Davis. First minority quarterback in the world, who was Tom Flores, Al Davis. He was an innovator. He was an innovator. And look, man, when you talk about the pass, the vertical game in the NFL, who can that be attributed to? Al Davis. Because they had this guy in the early stages of his career, in the early stages of the Raiders, this guy called Daryl LaMonica, aka the Mad Bomber. Because
What
they
was he
used to
also known for saying, the champ? Speed kills.
exactly. And they used to run the offense like this. Shout out to my main man, Big Cal, who's also an Oklahoma fan, by the way. This is how it went when they had Daryl LaMonica at the helm. In the great words of Gene Atkins, the first play, a bomb. The second play, a bomb. The third play, a bomb. And Daryl LaMonica was known in the history of football as one of the first real gunslingers in the NFL. Matter of fact, at his peak, Al Davis was a quarterback guru, was a quarterback whisperer, if you really want me to be honest with you. He had George Blanda, then he had Daryl LaMonica, then he transitioned that right over from Daryl LaMonica into Kenny Stabler, and then right from there he was able to remember they had another quarterback in before they had what's the guy's name? Jim Plunkett. They had
Mm-hmm.
Dan Pastorini in there before Jim Plunkett. Then they passed it right over to him. So people don't remember how innovative Al Davis was. Plus, look, where did everybody get the bump and run coverage from? Willie Brown, old man Willie Brown, God rest his soul. that was the first cornerback in the league in order to do bump and run coverage. What team did he play for? Oh, that's right, the Raiders. Art Shell, the leader of the Players Union, which I can assure you those lockouts wouldn't have happened in the NFL had he been alive. Where was he from? The Raiders. And much like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Las Vegas, well, the Oakland Raiders back then, was known from drafting from where? The HBCU.
Use.
They was not afraid. They didn't give a crap about the establishment. That's what I loved about the Raiders. And like I stated, I remember the Raiders from everybody wanted when we was kids, the Oakland Raiders, well, the Los Angeles Raiders, because when it went to Los Angeles, that's when it went Hollywood. Everybody had the Los Angeles Raiders starter jacket. That was the one you had to have. That was the one you had to have. It went smooth. It went smooth with everything. That silver and black went with everything, man. It was beautiful when you had it, man. And that was not only that, man, he gave the endorsement for other teams in order to use it. Remember, a lot of teams wasn't using black and white, silver and black before Al Davis. The Los Angeles Kings, my favorite hockey team, they wasn't using black, silver and black. The Colorado, the Rockies, they wasn't using silver and black. The White Sox, they wasn't using it in the color scheme like that before Al Davis. Al Davis was an innovator, man. Not to mention, man, some of the best pass rushers that you ever want to see, man. Howie Long to start. John Matuzak. Without Al Davis, there is no John Madden. One of the youngest coaches ever in the league. Without Al Davis, there is no John Gruden. Again, one of the youngest coaches ever in the league.
Not only that, champ. Additionally, Davis refused to play games in cities with segregationist policies like hotels that did not allow blacks and whites to stay together.
Exactly. Al Davis did not play, man. And when you're different, people try to label you as the villain. When you're different and you're anti-establishment, true anti-establishment, people try to label you as a villain. And remember who his favorite team was. His favorite team was Army and the Boys of the Fall, that being the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's why he wanted speed and power from. Speed, power, and order. So Al Davis, man, considering all that he did for the black players, and all the other minority players that he had, man, and there's a motto: once a Raider, always a Raider. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Hey, even killed his feud with Marcus Allen before he passed away. And shook his father's hand as he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, hey, man, outside of, I will say, the stadium, and like I stated, people often label you a villain when you're anti-establishment, when you're doing everything everybody else does. Every other team during Al Davis's reign was trying to get new stadiums. Every team. It was just so happened he was the Raiders, and he was just not a popular name. He was not a popular entity. He beefed with the commissioner when they were a separate league. So it followed him after the merger. So, it's good to see they built that new stadium in Las Vegas. I wish it would have been in LA or in Oakland, though.
I would say more Oakland, because that's a hell of a fan base, though.
Yeah, Oakland. Look, I will apologize to the people of Oakland on behalf of the teams, because if you would have told me when I was a child that Oakland, one of the most hardcore fan bases.
Yes.
Yes.
There's them, there's Chicago, there's Philadelphia.
Cleveland, to their credit, although, the team is not that good.
Detroit.
If you would have told me that Oakland, the city of Oakland, If you would have told me this when I was a child that they would not have a sports team in 2025, I would have called you a flat out liar. Because they sold out every Oakland Raiders game, although they went 4-12 for 5 straight years.
There you go. BRF.
Yeah, y'all pretty much laid everything out as far as Al Davis, just the innovation, the just how game changing he was as far as like the culture of the league. I mean, y'all pretty much laid everything else out there. I mean, and shout out to him for as he got older having the courage to wear those open jackets. I mean, shout out to him for having the courage to wear them jackets when he was still getting up that age. Shout out to him. He just didn't care. Like he was his own person. He was his own personality, and you got to respect that about Al Davis. So yeah, he qualifies for a baby face for me too. Y'all pretty much y'all laid everything out, man. I can't follow that, man. Y'all did the damn thing talking about him. So yeah, he's a baby face.
Definitely so, man. Definitely so. And one last one regarding babyface, heel, or tweener. Thinking. You know what? I think he's a pretty unanimous babyface. Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, did he even say a word?
That's why I say unanimous. This is pretty unanimous. I mean, he was in the conversation for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. To your point, champ, you've often said that, he was one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL because look at the quarterbacks he's had outside of Kurt Warner and Carson Palmer. He didn't really have much to work with. He had Kyler, but that was later in his career. Yeah. So he's class personified. Huh?
Then he had to play in the slot later in his career.
Yeah, slot later in his career, but he was willing to make that transition. So he was all about team. He was all about making sacrifices. He didn't really hear a peep. Chris Carter, I mean, from their days going back to Minnesota, remember, he was the ball boy, I think, for Minnesota. But what more can you say about Fitz? The best hands I saw during my teenage years. I mean, if you're talking about hands in the NFL, there's him, Chris Carter. I mean, if you want to add DeAndre Hopkins to that conversation as well, but hands.
Yeah.
Fitz, you got to add with hands. And, Fitz putting up numbers with less tier quarterbacks. So imagine if he had a top-notch quarterback he had in his career consistently. Those numbers would increase. So to me, I say babyface is pretty unanimous.
Yeah, he even told Antonio Brown that as well. He said, "Hey man, be thankful that you have a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger. I wish I had a quarterback that I had it that was throwing to me like Ben my whole career." Fitz, what's so funny about Fitzgerald? A lot of the guys down here in Georgia, I don't know about you guys, where you guys were. I'll never forget. The younger guys, they always try to replace the old guys. They stopped saying he mossed him, and they started saying he fitched him.
I remember that a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that he fitched him. I'm like, you mean he mossed him? He's like, no, Larry Fitzgerald, he fitched him. I'm like, okay. But it will always be for me, he mossed him. But, you can't get mad when somebody say he fitched him because he was just as good. So, I mean, especially for you to be drafted that high. And look, I don't think people understand this. When Larry Fitzgerald was in Pittsburgh, he was in the Heisman conversation.
Yep, I was gonna bring that up.
He was in the Heisman conversation. It was him and Chris Perry. Yeah, I remember that year. That was a hell of a year. I mean, I don't forget. I remember a certain team had played Pitt at a certain point, and they started running the ball at the beginning of the game. And I remember my dad started laughing. I'm like, "What you laughing for?" He said, "Because they running the ball. We all know that's BS. They just trying to keep him off Larry Fitzgerald." He said, "I don't know why they running that ball." He's like, "They just doing it to keep him off Larry Fitzgerald." But Larry Fitzgerald was class personified, professionalism to the T. He was the guy. He was the guy, man. Look,
Shout out to his father too.
yes, indeed, one of the most respected writers in the history of the NFL. I think as far as professionalism, and I'll end it on this. A lot of you guys, a lot of you young guys today that's playing in the NFL can learn a lot from Larry Fitzgerald because you never heard a peep out of him. When his team was winning, you never heard a peep out of him. Team was losing, you never heard a peep out of him. And he never complained to the media. He came to work, he did his job, was a model citizen. And the Cardinals were hot garbage for a lot of years. But he never complained. He came right back to the table and he worked his tail off. And that's what you want to see in a player of his caliber. You want to see a player set the tone, be the model of consistency, and let's quiet as it's kept. He's second in all time. He's second in all time leading receiving yards. He was the only one that I felt like had the best chance in order to catch Jerry Rice because of how much he kept his body in shape and how much and how good that he was. The model of consistency. I mean, professionalism. You gotta put him up there. Like I said, and you rarely heard a peep out of him. And during his peak, at his peak, he was one of the best in the league.
BRF.
Yeah, I think the board should be pretty unanimous on here. Just as, like Champ pretty much laid everything out. Is the way he carried himself. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He was always team first, even when he was putting up like top 5 wide receiver numbers for a lot of his career. He was always team first. He never thought about himself over anybody else, and it was just it was professionalism. He
The
carried himself in such
antithesis.
a
He was
exactly. He was very much, yeah, like just all these like the diva wide receivers and all these that you see nowadays. He was like the easy, absolute, complete opposite of that, and you just have to you admire that. Look like the fact that he was the opposite of like just a flamboyant diva receiver, and yet going out there putting up the same numbers with absolute less quarterback play, but yet hanging with these guys and being better than a lot of them. So but yeah, just absolute class personified. Like yeah, just pure, absolute, undisputed, no doubt, 1,000% babyface.
all right. Let's move on to favorite Dominique Mysterio moment. For me, it has to be when he was in the storyline with Russ's Soul, the late great Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio, leading up to the SummerSlam match in 2005, the ladder match, the custody of Dominique. But man, I do like his creativity. I do like the fact that he did turn heel. You know, the beef between he and his father. You know, how the way he was disrespecting his father at during his Hall of Fame speech. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, champ. But
He walked out.
He
yep,
walked
he
out.
walked out.
Him and Rhea Ripley. That was pretty funny.
Well, I mean, when you walk out with her, I mean that's all well and good. And so
Oh, but hey man, look, I'm gonna just be real, man. That damn Dominic Mysterio, bro, you have a roster that I envy.
That man keeps winning.
I applaud
That
you.
man keeps winning.
women,
Can't stand a man winning like that. You go from real to live. And now they were talking about at one point doing Roxanne Perez. I'm like, and your wife, your real life, the man keeps winning. What can you say?
well, I mean, look, not only that, let's not forget Trish Stratus. Did you see the photo of Trish Stratus lifting him?
Yeah.
Yeah, the man just wins at life. What can you say? He wins at life.
Hey man, I think yeah, man, look, hey, when you win, you win.
Yes. This is all there to it.
Hey man, when you win, you win. And plus, man, you remind me of that little degenerate kid when you was in high school that you didn't realize he was on the football team. He was a star receiver. He was so damn annoying in class. He just remind you of that guy. He was like, this dude is so damn annoying. I cannot wait to get the hell out of school. Then come to find out he's a star wide receiver on the football team. That he's a varsity literate guy. He's the D1 prospect. That's how, because look, he doesn't have the typical build of a superstar in wrestling. You know, you expect to see a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. but he is a wrestling savant, and he know how to move around in that ring. He know how to move around, and he was
And can
groomed,
talk.
and yeah, he could talk his tail off. So, man, Dominic Mysterio. Hey, man, look, man, look, my favorite Dominic Mysterio moment, man, when you went from roster to roster, when you lined them up and took them down. So, I salute you for that. You know, so I salute you for that, man. Especially Liv, man. Especially when she came out there with the blue jean shorts on.
Hmm.
Woo! Well, that was a spicy meatball right there, baby.
BRF.
Um, I got to really hand it to Dominic Mysterio. Like, just his growth since he's turned heel has just been, it's been a sight to behold and a sight to watch. Because I used to be so annoyed with him. Like when he first joined the Judgment Day, I was so annoyed with him. But it's like I kind of started to buy in the hype. The more they let him he let it go and just started to be himself more. Especially when he grew the mullet and then the mustache on top of that. It's like, okay, you start seeing it week in and week out, and it's like, okay, yeah, I see the hype. I'm buying in. I'm buying in, and now it's like any moment now they're gonna turn this dude babyface. He's gonna be one of the biggest baby faces in the company. We just waiting on it now. Just any moment is coming. Um, one of my definitely him joining the Judgment Day, like the turn at Clash at the Castle was very, like, it was big because we didn't know if it was gonna work, and it had to be scary for him too. It had to be. So and for him to make this work is just been, he's right now, you got to say he's one of the MVPs of the company right now. Just his heel work, his character work has just been nothing short of fantastic. Um, him joining the Judgment Day, uh, I will say this: him winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships with his dad was really cool because I saw that match. It was them versus Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the Dirty Dog, and that was a good match. This was Thunderdome era. This was like COVID, and this is Thunderdome. So him having that moment with his dad winning the SmackDown Tag Team titles, that was cool. That was a really cool moment. They were a really good. They were a really good tag team. Some of the matches that they were putting on bangers. Even the match where they lost the SmackDown titles to the Usos, that was a hell of a match too. So shout out to them as a tag team. Um, another one. I mean, him winning the AAA Mega title was big because that was a really good four-way match. And we saw it coming. And, well, we saw it. Well, it was a matter of time. We know when he didn't win in the four-way match, he won it in the rematch. But we saw it coming. We saw it coming, and he's capitalizing on the momentum, and he's just taking everything with him. So yeah, I would say him winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the initial turn going to the Judgment Day, and him, well, actually just him being a double champion, like winning the Intercontinental title, and basically winning the AAA Mega title, being a double champ is. I mean, we weren't thinking this for Dom 2, 3 years ago, and he's holding two championships. So I mean, salute to Dominic Mysterio. Like his growth has been amazing to watch, and he's one of my favorites. He's definitely turned into one of my favorites in a really quick time.
Absolutely. And one last final topic, fellas. Favorite Twister track. She says she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita. Definitely set this
Definitely set
party
the
all
party
right.
up, all right.
Oh, I love that track. Slow Jams featuring Kanye West and Jamie Foxx. Celebrity Overnight. So Sexy. That and the remix with him and R. Kelly. Twister, what I love about him, man, his how the way he spits, but so fast though. That's the thing that makes him like so unique in his flow, in his in the mood. And of course, him and Chris Brown make a movie. But I love Twister from his earlier days, man. And Chi-Town, they're known for producing good rappers. You know, him, Common, Kanye. So Twister, man, I love some of them old tracks, but Celebrity Overnight, that stood out to me the most. I mean, them early 2000s, them 03, 04s, those were the days, man. I mean, shout out to 106 in Park, man. Because anytime when you're a kid or adult coming off work or school, you always wanted to watch them 106 in Park videos and just check out what type of hit song is going to come out, man. But Twister is one of them guys I love listening to. Whoever wants to go.
Oh man, I know this ain't his song. Neither one of them, but Poe Pippin is still Poe Pippin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Hey man, look man.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to ride in the backseat of a caddy, chopping it up with do or die? Twister had the best verse on both of them. Twister had the best verse on both of them. Not to mention, man, look, Feel So Good. That one was good. Adrenaline Rush.
Go check out his verse on Poppin' Tags with
I was
Jay-Z.
just about to get into that, man. When he was on Rockefeller, I hate they never bought out. I hate that Dave was not able to get him another album off of Rockefeller as well, but they got him that one. But that was good. Twister was, man, he was so underrated, man. He was so underrated. He was one of those. If you was not a hardcore hip hop fan, because people love talking about his mainstream stuff in 2000, but let's talk about when he was part of Do or Die, coming out of that Chicago, out of the Midwest, bringing that different style of just rapid fast, just nonstop. I mean, not to mention, Thug Matrimony where he rapped on with Trick Daddy and Lil Jon. Everybody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody.
Know somebody.
Man, look, man. Like I said, but man, to this day, like I said, I know that's not his song. But Poe Pippin and still Poe Pippin, those two were my introduction. Riding around in my brother's car, riding around in that blue Buick that he had back in the day, and he painted the hell out of it. By the way, God rest his soul. But man, I remember him with them Pioneer speakers. Back then, you had a pair of Pioneer speakers, and that the radio with the face on it, and you had to snatch off so people would see your stereo back in the day. But man, that was a classic, man. So I gotta say, Pippin, Poe Pippin, still Poe Pippin, Feel So Good, Adrenaline Rush, Weather, Damn, I love that song, I love that song. Never mind. But no story time on that one. But no, man. Hey man, don't look at me like that, man. Look.
I'm afraid D may hear this.
No, there's this girl. I was back in like when our early army days. I was like 19. She was like 27 at the time. And yes, I dated older all the time. So she was like 27 at the time. And when she would pick me up from the base, she would literally be playing that song and she would sing that song in my ear. So that was the funniest thing about it. And I would always be trying to rap over her, but she was having that. So shout out to I was just gonna say your name, Rican Queen. Well, I'll just say your nickname. I'm not gonna say your name because I don't know what your situation is now. But Rican Queen, holla at your boy. So you made my early army years great because riding with you to the mall every single Saturday to pick up the Jordans was cool. So we used to go out to the club. You used to get me to all the clubs and everything. That was a cool time. So yeah, me being a little kid in the army, never been outside the state of Georgia. That was cool. So thank you for riding me around in that that old fast ass BMW that you had. But yeah, man, yeah, she used to sing that song to me every time we used to go out to the mall on Saturday. So that was the funniest thing. But yeah, that was crazy, bro. But love it. Yeah, nothing very. I don't have experience. Y'all must be. Never mind, man. I believe y'all think I was crazy back in the day or something like that. So
look, we ain't judging, man. We know you. Hey, you got stories, so hey, I'll be listening.
I'm just gonna be real. They called me Stay Scheming for a reason back in them days. Shout out to my main man Josh and so on. So that's what my nickname was back in the heyday. Stay Scheming. So that was a name for a reason. So
What they called you, the young Rick Ross? Is that what they called you?
no, it was look, nobody. The thing is, it was me and my guy Josh. You know, the big man and the little man. We used to walk around, and that's what they called us. They called us Stay Scheming because we was always scheming about something. So yeah, we were the wild ones in the group in the Wolf Pack. We were the wild ones. So yeah, we were the guys who was going to get the party rocking.
BRF.
Oh man, Twister still to this day is one of the most underrated artists that's still going. Shoot, I mean, yeah, y'all named a bunch. Y'all, I mean, honestly, that Kamikaze album, almost as a whole, was a fire album. Slow jams, Overnight Celebrity, Like a 24, Sunshine with Anthony Hamilton. Uh, God, should I say the one song? The dude had a song called "Badunka Donk." Okay, I mean, like, bro, if you had that, and that was a fire song as well too. But he had like a bunch of other stuff. Like he had features.
Freaking
I didn't
things
know for
with
the longest time.
freaking things
Huh?
with Ludacris.
Yes, yes, yes,
You know
yes,
what I'm talking about.
yes.
Don't flex.
Boy,
Don't flex.
I love that song. Phase on Love talking on that song at the beginning of the song. Oh my god,
Hey.
that is one of the funniest tracks. But it was so good. Him and Luda and Jagged Edge. Oh, that's a great song. That's a great song. What up? I didn't know. I didn't even realize for the longest time that him and Bone Thugs and Harmony had beef. But I mean, it
They
makes sense.
bullshit.
Who rap like they were beefing over who the fastest rapper, and then they squashed the beef. And then they did a song together on when I think Bone Thugs and Harmony were trying to make a comeback. They did that comeback album a few years ago. What was that song? I think it was Thug World Order. I believe was the name of the album or something like that. And they did a song together called C Town because Bone Thugs from Cleveland, Twista is Chicago.
Yeah.
Did a song called C Town. If y'all ain't heard that song, y'all need to hear that song. That's a really really good song. The beat roll, I mean, just perfect flow. Perfect flow when you got Twista and Bone Thugs and Harmony on the track together. Perfect song. Burn This City with Lil Wayne.
Yes.
Great track. Great track. What else? Gosh, Twista got so much good stuff. So much good stuff. Yeah. Wetter. Make a movie. Jesus. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Champ already named Poe Pimpin' and still Poe Pimpin'. You can never go wrong with OG classics. You can never go wrong with that. All in all, man, Twista's just one of them rappers we need to be giving flowers to and appreciate because he didn't gave us so many good songs. It's man, shout out to Twista, man. Shout out to Twista, boy. He did Chicago very proud. I mean, he's still going like. Just he has always been the truth. I will never not disrespect. I will never disrespect that icon, boy. Twista's always been one of them ones.
Honestly, man, definitely so. But fellas, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Any final words before we wrap up the show?
I'm 40 tomorrow.
Happy birthday, BRF.
Shout out to y'all. I don't know, man. Now that I know I'm turning 40 tomorrow, I've been doing some reflecting, some appreciating, things I've gone through, things that are going for me. And one of the things I got going for me is just this podcasting and being able to do the show with y'all on a weekly basis has just been amazing. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm happy where I'm at. So I take it running. I take it in stride. I'm blessed. I'm grateful to get these opportunities. I thank y'all for putting me in a position, for allowing me to share a platform with y'all to be able to do this on a weekly basis. I'm always grateful. I'm still grateful for my desk. I'm using the heck out of it. I'm using it right now. I'm loving it, having a blast. This is the most comfortable I've been doing the podcast since I've been doing the podcast with y'all. It's incredible. But yeah, man, I hit the big 4-0 tomorrow. It's something I'm thinking about now that is hitting me, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm happy where I'm at in my life. I got a good job. I'm a proud dad, and I'm blessed to be where I'm at, man. So thank y'all for allowing me to share the platform. Everyone that's shown me support, whether it be through the podcast or whether it be my TikToks. Shout out to everybody loving, supporting me. I'm always grateful, and I'm gonna keep it going. And a topic I thought about is a topic I talked about.
Always. Big fella.
Oh man, gratitude is the key. Gratitude is the key. Happy birthday. I'm so angry at you that you did not tell me sooner because man, I'd have hopped in the car. I'd have hopped in the car. We
He
would have.
posted it on his Facebook.
I posted them on Facebook a little. I posted them on Facebook like a few hours ago,
Okay.
and like I saw PSP had reacted to it, so I'm like, oh man, he actually saw it. So I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah. I hate that you waited because woo, we'd have made a couple trips. But look, hey, look, man, look. Hey, there's always the late. There's always the late. If I don't get you on the watch, I get you on the rinse.
Mhm.
Shout out to PSP. Thank you for everything. Like dead serious. Like without the Sports PSP podcast, wouldn't be a Undisputed Goat podcast. Which you know, Sports PSP taught me a lot about internet numbers and all of this other stuff. I just used to post shit. I'm just being real. I thought it was a good idea. I used to post it. He taught me about the hashtag, understanding the assignment about a lot of things, and he was able to help me out a lot. So, hey man, I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for all the great people around me, and grateful for PSP, BRF. You're my brother. I talk to you on a regular. I talk to both of y'all on a regular basis.
I
That's the
talk to
funniest.
you. I talk to you more than I talk to my own mom and my brother.
I talk to y'all like y'all family members. It was like
There you
so.
go.
Yeah, I talk to y'all like I'm my family members. So that was that's cool when you have people that you can talk to. So and look, just want to thank both of you, man. And look, I'm grateful because I understood the assignment this year. I was able to put on my serious hat. Regardless. Yes, I come on the internet. I have a good time. I tell a lot of stories. About me having fun. But at the end of the day, I try to understand the assignment in real life. And PSP, I will give you and Ace this credit. Y'all told me to understand the assignment this year, and I understood the assignment this year, and we was able to get a lot accomplished this year because we were focused. So I want to thank you and Ace, and as well as a lot of other people, but you and Ace in particular, because I'm talking to y'all all the time. So
Yes.
shout out to you and Ace, man, because like I said, I definitely understood the assignment this year. Number 4 was this year, as you always point out. But I also got 2 certifications this year, and I was able to do a lot of great things. Able to get the background together, able to get my desk together, able to get a lot of things together. Because, like I stated, God, God gave me the ability to understand the assignment. So, thank y'all for pushing me into another place. Because, like I said, I'm a goof off type of guy. But when I understand the assignment, I'm able to get it done. So I understood the assignment this year. Thank God. And thank each and every last one of you for motivating me to understand the assignment. So not
Hey,
going to get
God.
into any other details about it because there's a lot of other stuff off camera that I really don't talk about. Like I said, I'm here to entertain, but yeah, y'all don't see the serious part behind the scenes, the work. Sports PSP, he does a lot of the groundwork, and I call him the Tom Joyner the Tom Joyner podcast for a reason. And I try to put in just as much on my end in order to do some things. And regardless of the persona on the mic, I try to be much like PSP, a little bit more very quiet about the work that I'm doing. So yeah, but it's like I said, all of us understood the assignment this year, and we able to close out this year saying that we We completed the assignment and passed it with flying colors. So
Hey,
understand
look,
the assignment this year, people. Just understand the assignment for the remainder of the year. Understand your assignment of all things and understand your purpose and God's purpose that He has for you. So understand it. Understand all those things.
hey, man,
Oh,
look.
and and real quick before you go, PSP, I do want to say this though. I feel like I want to get it out there. Like I know I put out some videos like over the day or so. I think I might have caught a little lightning in the bottle with this, so I kind of want to actually turn it into series. So feedback to all the people out there. If there are athletes that you want me to speak about, as far as like I'm naming it like the Mount Rushmore of lost momentum is what I'm going to call the series. I think I've caught lightning in the bottle with these, so I kind of want to keep going with this maybe like once or twice a week. So if there are any athletes that out there that really had a high that kind of flamed out, bottom out that you want me to speak on and kind of talk about, shoot me ideas. Like I got a couple of videos I just posted recently. I think I kind of want to turn it into series because it makes for interesting topics. Talking about athletes that had a really really high but couldn't maintain it. So I think I might turn it into a series. So if y'all got any ones that y'all want me to talk about, feel free to hit me up in the comments, man. I'm always willing to listen to feedback.
Absolutely. Look, man, champ, God bless you with a gift. The way to repay God is capitalizing the gift that God gave you, and everything else will take care of itself. I found a
Amen to
gift.
that.
I found a gift that God blessed me with. All I'm doing is paying him back by capitalizing on the opportunities. And yes, it requires a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours. Sometimes you're going to have to be away from family and friends in order to do something that you love to do, something that you have a strong passion and fire and desire for. But I wanted to take it to the next level, and I will continue to do whatever it takes. I will continue to do whatever it takes to make sure that the pod is going and everything else is going, because I want to succeed. I want to have a life for myself. I want to do big things. And of course, I want to help those in need. So that's what I want to do. I know all of y'all want to do that for yourselves as well, man. But fellas, always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. We may do something interesting because again, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So who knows whether we're gonna do a sports PSP pod, but I'll definitely come up with some episodes and stuff because again, it's the holidays. Champ BRF needs some time, and rightfully so, for their family and friends. As for sports PSP, you never know. I'll probably come out doing some videos or stuff here or there. But fellas, always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. Please, everyone, enjoy the remaining days of 2025. Try to focus on 2026. Try to focus on something positive. Try to focus on doing something new. Try to focus on doing something constructive, something that's conducive. Try focusing on that. And on that, we end off the show on a peaceful note. And we is out. Peace.